no,
at least I'm fine at something.
Yeah.
And the Temple Wildcats are not a team that is unused to being in the playoffs, although they're still looking for their first playoff win since they've been in 6A football.
It is, yeah, Ward. I mean, that's a big thing. That the Wildcats really tonight need to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. I mean, they've got something to prove. Since going into 6A in 18 and 19, it's been bye-bye after the first round. 2018 here against Mesquite Horn, and then last year up at Longview with a pretty tough beating that they took there. So the Wildcats come into this, if I don't think Coach Stewart or the Wildcats are coming to this thinking like they're the big dogs in the 6A Division II bracket. They need to be here playing this game tonight and making sure they get into round 2.
Well, and this is a game where you look at the Waxahachie Indians, and if you're not familiar with where they came from or what they've been up against all season long, you may look at 5-4 and go, well, this should be pretty easy for the Wildcats to go ahead and get this done and get ready for next week. But this is a situation for Waxahachie where they come into Wildcat Stadium. One, they're on a little bit of a roll right now because they're on a 4-game winning streak. And two, their front of their before district play was against some pretty good football teams to begin with. And then, oh, by the way, they may be in the toughest district in the state of Texas.
Alan?
Yeah. I mean, they're in that district of death with Duncanville, DeSoto, and that whole group there. They also had to play a non-district game against Ennis this year, and Ennis went 8-0 in the regular season. So they had a tough road to get here, but like you said, they are on a roll at the moment. They beat Mansfield Lake Ridge for the first time since 2013. Of course, Lake Ridge didn't have a good season, but then they went on to beat Mansfield, Midway, and Waco, all losing teams. So, they're 5-1 against teams with a losing record, and they didn't defeat anybody with a winning record. But those teams with winning records have really big winning records. So,
because you look at some of those teams, Art and Coach, that you have Ennis, which Look, Ennis is on a roll right now.
They are tearing it up.
And they could be a state championship. They certainly have a good path to the AT&T Stadium and play for a state championship game. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, you're going to look in their district, and you have Cedar Hill, you have Duncanville, you have DeSoto, and you talk about those three teams. Well, I'm not sure that one of those three teams may not be at AT&T Stadium come championship Saturday or not, because they're all three capable of getting there just as well as anybody else. I mean, that is a tough schedule that they just played, and they played it pretty well overall.
Well, it honestly wouldn't be a miracle for two teams out of that district to win the Division I and Division II state championships.
Absolutely. No,
out of that
it's
one
very
district.
possible.
No, you're right.
Not crazy odds at all. And this Coach Alexander with Waxahachie, and I know we're going to talk even more specifically about Waxahachie and Temple in the pregame show. And right now we're going to walk a little bit through the bracket of 6A Division II and just kind of educate the listeners and the Wildcat fans about what's happening there. In fact, you can go to Wildcat Nation on Facebook and pull up the bracket. Alan has posted that there for you. I think, oh, that's right. We're even on TV here, aren't we, on the live stream?
Hi, Mom.
Q, everybody say hello to the fan base out there and the listeners tonight. For those of you that are live streaming and those of you listening on air, that's we're at that Wildcat Playoff Preview Show here, brought to you by Cheeves Steakhouse, downtown Temple. You can go get some gift cards, holiday parties. They've got Christmas rooms and banquet rooms that you can reserve. And, of course, I think all of us never are too upset about a big old steak from Cheeves.
Yeah, and Lauren and Joe are both great people, too. I mean, they really, after taking over that restaurant, man, they've done a great job. It's a one of the premier places to go in this part of the state of Texas.
You bet. We appreciate Lauren and Joe Wilson, owners of Chief Steakhouse, sponsoring the playoff preview special tonight. So, Alan, let's climb in here with the bracket. Again, it's posted on Wildcat Nation, the Facebook page, 6A Division II bracket. Just for a little reminder of those of you that may be new or need a refresher, brought up to speed, or a reminder about the brackets. Each bracket in the UIL playoffs has 64 teams. So this 6A Division II bracket has 64 teams. That's divided into 4 regions. So how many is that per region?
8. I mean,
16.
There's 8 games.
8 games.
There's 16 teams per region. So.
That's our scholar of the team right there, Alan.
I am not certified in math. Okay.
Having fun with you, Alan. I mean, come on, we got to do that. Class of '87 over here next to me, guys. Class of '88 here. We know our numbers. But what that means is, with 64 teams in 4 regions, it means over the next 6 weeks, starting this weekend, there were a few games last night. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But over these 6 rounds, you've got 6 weeks of high school football playoffs, and that means that leads up to January 16th. The state championship, which is a little bit different this year because we all know that the season for 5A and 6A was delayed 4 weeks. So that pushes the state title games that are typically the Saturday before Christmas. That pushes them for 5 and 6A into January. That'll be January 16th, AT&T in Arlington. And Alan, the Wildcat fan base and the Wildcat team, AT&T, I was just kind of picking at some numbers here. The Wildcats played there in 2014. They played there twice in 2016, around 4 game against Manville, and then the state title game against Highland Park, and then the opening game this year, this season against Longview. So 4 games, since 2014. So it's not an unfamiliar drive and a place for the Wildcat fans, and certainly this Wildcat team. Alan, anything you want to add about the overview of the bracket or playoffs before we climb into Region 1?
Man, I'm ready to go as soon as you are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to start then. What we're going to do here is hit a little bit on each region, and then Region 1, we'll skip Region 2, we'll go to Region 3, and then Region 4, and come back and spend most of the time in Region 2, which is where the Wildcats are slotted on the bracket. Because that's where districts 9 through 16 are in the bracket. So Region 1, Alan, that's that geographical territory in the state of Texas. Everything, I think it covers the most square miles from El Paso through Midland and Abilene, all the way into the Metroplex. Kind of splits the Metroplex in half. Of course, that whole panhandle up in the top, everything north there falls into that Region 1. What are you seeing with Region 1? What are you thinking there?
Well, I did a lot of looking at the Max Preps rankings with everything that I analyzed with the bracket. And the reason why I like Max Preps ranking is because they have a strength of schedule component that they use with their ranking system. And so, the chalk in this Region 1 are Denton Geyer, obviously incredible program they've got up there. And Flower Mound Marcus looks to have a pretty good path all the way up. And those 2 teams, could meet in the state semifinal or in the regional finals, based on the way the bracket's set up. So,
you got it. Yeah, there's you coming down that piece. One team that caught my attention, Dallas Jesuit last year. Many of our listeners may not realize this because after Temple took a pretty good whooping at Longview last year in round 1. There was really an idea and thought that we just got beat by either a team that's going to go very far or maybe even win the state championship in that Longview team. They actually got beat the next week by Dallas Jesuit, and a lot of people have been talking about that school and that program being a bit of a surprise. So you're liking Denton Geyer. Who else?
Flower Mound Marcus.
Yeah,
they've got actually a pretty tough first round game against Prosper. Prosper's, ranked in the top 30 in the state, and that's entire 6A. That's not just the 6A Division II bracket. So they may have one of the tougher matchups in this region in the first game, but I picked Marcus to beat them on that. Now, Denton Geyer plays Capel, who's ranked, in the 40s or so. But, Denton Geyer is a blue blood playoff team of late. And so on their side of the bracket, it looks, based on the rankings that I've been studying, it looks to me like Geyer's got a pretty smooth sail all the way to the regional final till they meet Flower Mound Marcus.
All right, well, there you got it from Alan on that Region 1, some Region 1 thoughts, and those 16 teams in that bracket. And by the way, nobody played last night, I think, in Region 1, so all those games are happening either tonight or tomorrow.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's skip over to Region 3. Region 3, I guess the shortest way, it's probably geographically in square miles the smallest region, but that's basically the Houston area, the southeast Texas, yeah? And so what do you like with Region 3, Alan?
Well, you got 6 or 8 million people all in one area, and you're going to have a lot of high schools, right? And of course, you and I both being Houston Cougars, we know a lot of guys that went to a lot of these schools. I think first and foremost, the most interesting thing last night is 2 teams that advanced already out of that quarter of the bracket are Katy Taylor and Katy, who both advanced via forfeits. Katy Taylor won via forfeit over George Ranch, and Katy advanced with a forfeit over Fort Bend Elkins. So those games actually are not.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that right now. Just, I mean, the impact. I mean, of course, something unprecedented that is we just haven't had to deal with is this coronavirus thing.
That's true.
And the UIL, and I know Q, you're in here too, and you might even have some. If we're off on this enough, because you live it every day with the ESPN and Fox broadcast that you do, but I mean, basically UIL has said these games are gonna have to happen. So if a team can't meet the standards for coronavirus, you just have to forfeit.
Yeah.
There's no rescheduling or pushing it out because they're not going to compromise that 6 weeks and 6 rounds. So,
and that's understandable. I mean, you can't push football on into late January, early February. I mean, it's just it. And when you're trying to accommodate 64 teams times 12 state 12 state
There's 12
classifications.
brackets, yeah.
There's just no way to accommodate all of that, and that's just kind of the world we're living in this year.
But it all of a sudden got very real at a whole different level when you think of going through the playoffs, and you typically, as a coach, you're thinking about injuries. You're trying to keep all of this kind of routine going, but then you've got this thing called COVID-19, and knowing that if that hits your organization and your team enough, or in the right way or the wrong way, maybe I should say, your season may be over.
Could be.
You never even got to take the field to get a chance to see. So it just adds another element. I know there have been a number of games that were canceled the last season, including Waxahachie and Duncanville canceled their last game of the season. So both the Wildcats and Waxahachie haven't played in 2 weeks.
Right.
Temple's bye was week 11, so it wasn't a COVID-related issue for them. But Waxahachie, it was just both coaches were deciding there was too much risk of playing when they really didn't need to, and it wasn't going to change any of the seeding. So, but you can't do that in the playoffs.
No, you cannot.
You got to play. All right. So
and we know, of course, Belton in our district missed 2 games this year due to COVID. I mean, that's just and schools. There's been schools all over the state that have missed because of this thing.
So Katy High in Region 3, Katy High over Fort Bend Elkins and Katy Taylor over George Ranch. Those 2 teams, Katy and Katy Taylor, advance in the bracket to round 2, and they didn't play.
Exactly right. And of course, this is Katy. You and I were talking about this before the show. Katy actually being in Division 2 is just something that we don't usually expect, right? I mean,
it's not. It's
a big school. They're usually vying for the 6A Division 1 state championship. I mean, they're always in that hunt, and here they are in Division 2. And in this side of the bracket, in this Region 3, they've got a few teams that may be able to jump up there and scare them. What we talk about, Shadow Creek?
Well, yeah, you got a little. Certainly, you can't leave Shadow Creek out of the conversation with coming off of being they moved up to 6A this year, 6A classification out of 5A. They're the defending 5A Division I state championships, or I shouldn't say defending. They're not in that division any longer.
Sure.
But they were last year's. Matter of fact, I think they won the state championship 2 years in a row. But I may be wrong on that. But Shadow Creek. But you like Katy. I mean, Katy's got to be the big dog. I mean, when you're talking about Region 3.
When you're looking at the rankings, Katy is head and shoulders, at least as far as the Max Preps strength of schedule rankings. They should be. I mean, they're definitely the favorite to win Region 3. But another, Shadow Creek is kind of reminds me of Temple High School 3 years ago. We go to the state final game and we end up in 6A. it's another level.
It is.
So Shadow
yeah.
Creek may be a really good football program, but when you jump up into 6A and you've got schools with, a 500 or 1,000 more kids, that's where depth comes into play.
You bet.
So if somebody gets injured or something like that, Q, you got anything? I mean,
I just wanted to say hi. I just wanted to be part of the show and say hi. See how you guys are doing today.
Ain't no way you're just going to say hi.
You ain't lying. No, I actually just wanted to jump in real quick, only because you guys were talking about COVID and how everything affects everything. And earlier in this playoff run, Mahia had just kind of won they had just won and they were advancing, and then all of a sudden they get hit with COVID, and so they had to forfeit. And they were really on a roll. Coach Abram had them really rolling in a good direction. And man, I remember talking to him right after that, and he was just beat up, because going back to what you had said, while I was too busy texting to join in the conversation at that point, but it's like, it's one thing to push off a game for 1 week and postpone it, but it's another thing for a team to all of a sudden, like, your season's over, and seniors, like, everything's over. You know what I mean? And that's just
without a clock winding down and
exactly.
the pads on.
When your season ends, when your season ends, you want it to be out there.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want it to be you're getting a call from coach on Saturday afternoon, like, oh, by the way.
Yeah. Or Wednesday afternoon.
Or when you're getting on the bus to head to the game. You don't. Yeah.
And that's obviously already happened in Region 3.
Exactly. It did. And if you think about it, it happened to every single UIL sport last spring. I mean, my golf team was devastated that they didn't get to take the course last spring. Baseball, track, soccer. I mean, all these teams that it's over.
Well, there's so it's a good the whole deal about Katie's a good segue over into Region 4, because there really are two teams in this bracket, or actually there's the team that's here that we didn't expect to be here, which is Katie. We thought would be in 6A Division 1.
Sure.
And then in Region 4 we got the team that we thought was going to be making a shot for trying to defend their 6A Division 2 state title from last year, and we're talking about Westlake.
Yeah, Westlake.
I mean, a little fluke game that turned a different way that they weren't related in, pushed them up into 6A Division 1. So, I mean, Alan, what does that mean for Region 4 and maybe even the bracket overall without Westlake in here?
I would say that Region 4, that could end up making Region 4 the most competitive region. I mean, you've got a couple of teams ranked in the top 30, so to speak, with Austin Vandergrift and Converse Judson, a name we're familiar with, being Temple Wildcat fans, breaking that 50-something game home winning streak of theirs that we did back in '92. Anyway, I would say that those two teams are going to meet in the area game, Judson and Vandergrift, or they should, I should say, should they both win their first round games. And so, down at the bottom side of that bracket, you've got a lot of teams that you're not really used to seeing. They're not big names that you would consider every year, with Brownsville, Hanna, and Eagle Pass, and San Antonio Johnson. Vista Ridge is a name, that's in this bracket, playing against Buda Hayes in the 6A bracket this year.
Well, I mean, look, until the realignment and you had schools like Westlake jumping into that Region 4, and then also up in Division 1, you've got like Lake Travis showing up in Region 4 with Round Rock and so forth. But usually, I mean, Region 4 hasn't typically been the region, Q, that and Coach, that produces a lot of state champions. I mean, that hasn't historically been that kind of blue blood Region 4, because you step down and maybe more specifically, I should say, really South Texas and down into the Valley hasn't historically been state championship football. Good teams.
Right.
So this really is, with Westlake out of the equation.
Right.
You got the blue blood of Converse Judson in there. Austin Vandergrift can certainly put some points on the board and everything, but that's probably the biggest coin toss.
Yeah, I would have to say so. It's definitely the most evenly matched region that we've got. So
yeah.
Okay. That's good. My bad. I'll tell Steven. Okay, live on the air. That's awesome. Steven's back in the home studios.
I kind of thought you were telling us to move on,
making everything go. No. I am going to take.
That's enough of that.
No, my bad. I'm going to take a break though. I am going to take a break. Steven told me to take a break, so I was telling him okay, but I just said it over the air because I think out loud. That's what
listen.
I do.
Let's go back to Steven then, so we can take a break. We're here with the Wildcat Playoff Preview Special brought to you by Chiefs, and when we come back, we'll focus on Region 2 with the Wildcats and that Region 2 of the portion of the bracket. So, Stephen, back to you.
Cheese Brothers Steakhouse in downtown Temple offers a dining.
Okay.
Hello, Wildcat Nation, and welcome back to Wildcat Stadium here at Bob McQueen Field. This is Art Coley and Coach Alan Roark, and we are bringing you the 2020 Wildcat Playoff Preview Special brought to you by Chiefs Steakhouse. And Alan, we left the conversation. We covered Region 1, Region 2, Region 4 of the Class 6A Division 2 bracket, which you've posted on Wildcat Nation on Facebook. If anybody wants to go see and take a look at that and track along how the Wildcats progress through the bracket in this playoff. But now we're focusing on Region 2. And we're going to finish the show really focused on this region, which is where the Wildcats are. Alan, talk to us about Region 2 of this 6A Division 2 bracket.
And you mentioned we're at Bob McQueen Field real quick. Coach McQueen just poked his head in and said hello to us. So he's doing well. He's got a big smile on his face, and I guarantee you he would not rather be anywhere else on this planet than at this stadium tonight for a Wildcat playoff game.
You bet.
Based on my analysis of all four of these regions, Region 2 is the toughest region. You've got 4 teams ranked in the top 20, Max Preps rankings, strength of schedule, all that. 4 teams are in Region 2. You've only got 2 in Region 1, 1 in Region 3, and no top 20 teams in Region 4. So, and of those teams, you're looking at obviously number 2 Cedar Hill, right, out of District 11, which is the district our district faces in the playoffs, right? At least we are tonight. They're on the top half of that bracket, and then you've got number 12 Tomball Memorial, who won last night over Cypress Park, and they face Oak Ridge. Conroe Oak Ridge advanced over Aldine Eisenhower. So those are 2 games that have already been played. You've got number 17, the Temple Wildcats, who are playing Waxahachie out of District 11 tonight. And then the last game in this district, or in this portion of the bracket, was Klein Collins versus Bridgeland, which was played last night. Bridgeland being the last top 20 team in this part of the bracket. And young school, right? They haven't been around too long, but they beat Klein Collins and advanced to the second round last night. So.
Well, so out of the 8 games in Region 2, half of them have already been played.
Yes.
You already mentioned Conroe Oak Ridge won, Tomball Memorial advanced, and a lot of people you're spot on. A lot of people are really saying keep your eye on Tomball Memorial.
Yes.
Got an amazing offense, put up a ton of points. It's apparently quite a show and fireworks when they're on the field playing. Spring Decaney beat Willis. And then, as you mentioned, Bridgeland over Collins, and that leaves the other 4 games. Cedar Hill, certainly. I mean, just about every critic or sports predictor, right, chart has Cedar Hill coming out winning Region 2.
Yes.
They absolutely are the favorite on that, and that Bryan taking them on tonight. Any thoughts on that Bryan Cedar Hill game?
Well,
good luck.
Yeah, that's about all I got. I mean, we saw DeSoto and Duncanville, played against Shoemaker and Harker Heights last night, and that did not go well for either one of those district.
Two of our district teams already down. Harker Heights and Shoemaker.
And
big losses last night. Yeah.
And so Bryan going in trying to face a very. I mean, what was Cedar Hill's only loss was to Duncanville.
That's correct.
Yeah. And Duncanville is just a powerhouse. So. I feel for Bryan in that game.
So let's have a little fun,
okay.
And let's have a little fun here, and do something that coaches always they hate this, and they're never going to talk. They're 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time.
Yeah, but we're not on that team.
That's
you
right.
And I can
so
talk.
We're going to have some fun with this.
Yeah, we can look ahead.
Yeah. So if we take round 1, right? We got Temple over Waxahachie. Can I get an amen on that?
Yeah, we got Temple over Waxahachie.
All right. So that means. We've got Rockwall Heath and Garland playing tonight. Rockwall Heath's the favorite in that game.
Yeah, they are. I mean, are we going to go into
Rockwall
we got
Heath
to,
man.
Okay.
Who's the coach at Rockwall Heath? Come on.
Rockwall Heath is Coach Mike Spradlin, who hired Scott Stewart as defensive coordinator. 5-6 years, or was it 2014 was Coach Stewart's first year at Temple as DC, and Spradlin hired him. Who's the quarterback's coach there at Rockwall Heath?
Chad President, 2014 Wildcat quarterback against versus Aledo in just a grueling match there, and lost by a few points in the last seconds of the game.
And then you've got another former Temple head coach that's a line coach there at Rockwall Heath, Bryce Munson.
Coach Munson.
And then Joey Haig.
That's a blue blood name around
Coach
Wildcat.
Haig was on the 92 coaching staff for our state championship team. You got Joey over there. And then, of course, you and I went to high school with the superintendent of Rockwall Schools.
Yeah, that's right. Coach Villarreal or Superintendent Villarreal, J.J. Villarreal, class of 86. Yeah, class of 86. So
he coached here, too.
We definitely want a round 2 matchup with Temple and Rockwall Heath.
Yeah,
that's just going to be
fun.
That's going to be too much fun. And they've already, if you guys already read in the paper, it's already been announced publicly that all 4 teams that are playing tonight in those 2 games have agreed on Baylor as the round 2 site. Yeah, we're good on time. We just got about another minute or so.
Okay.
But they've agreed on Baylor as that site. So
Q hadn't said okay yet, so I guess we can keep going. So
go get them, Q.
Go get them, Q. And, I'll let you know how the weather is.
That's our sideline reporter working his way down to the sidelines. Ward, you're going to fire us after tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So we've got that piece. So that's guys. Round 1 tonight. Round 2 at Baylor Stadium. We all predicting a shootout with Temple and Rockwall Heath.
That would be a game to go see.
Yep.
I mean, these 2 offenses.
Yep.
Once again, obviously, we're not assuming we're going to win tonight, but if Temple and Rockwall Heath both advance, there's going to be points on the board that night.
Well, Coach, thank you for the preview. Thank you for your work on going through the regions and look at those. Maybe we'll do the same thing again next week, but to kind of catch up on where we are at round 2 and what's been happening in the bracket.
You bet.
Keep an eye on Wildcat Nation, where Coach Roark has the brackets posted.
And the links for the live stream link tonight and the Listen Live link tonight for the pregame and game.
And he brought us in on the front end of the playoff preview. Now we'll turn it over to take us out and send it back to Steven. But, Ward, anything before we leave?
Nope, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. Thanks to Cheese for bringing you the playoff special. It is the Wildcats and the Waxahachie Indians at Wildcat Stadium. Stay tuned. The Jim Pond pregame show is next on Fox Sports Central Texas. And good evening. Welcome to Wildcat Stadium. It is the Temple Wildcats and the Waxahachie Indians bi-district championship up for grabs here at Wildcat Stadium on this, well, a little bit foggy night here in Temple, Texas. And it's not only foggy outside, it's foggy in the radio booth tonight as well, Art.
It is a little foggy. I'm just glad Ward's here with us. He was outside doing window work a little bit earlier, and I was concerned about maybe losing our play-by-play guy on this round one of the playoffs.
Well, Coach Prentice is up there right now and wiping windows off, not only on our window, we appreciate that very much, and also the coach's window, which is much more important than our window.
Wait a minute.
Let's be honest about the whole situation. But the Temple Wildcats looking to move into the second round of the playoffs, but there is a job to take care of tonight here at Wildcat Stadium, and that is get a win in the playoffs in Division 6A, which the Wildcats have been not able to do over the past couple of seasons since they moved to 6A football.
Wildcat fans kind of feel like the world is rotating in the wrong direction when you're out after round one, and that's what's happened to the last two seasons since the Wildcats have moved up to the 6A classification. Heck of a run, but tonight you've got really two blue blood programs here in Temple and the Waxahachie. Temple with close to 800 wins. They both have been playing football well over 100 years. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing was interesting. Temple and Waxahachie have some history. They played 20 times before. The problem is the last time they played was 1950, and we had trouble finding those stats on what happened with that game. So there won't be a whole lot of data points on what happened the last time they played in 1950. But what a heck! I mean, there's just always something extra special about the playoffs. We're not used to having to wait this long because of the delay with COVID. But here we are tonight, and the Wildcats getting a home game. That's a big deal. That's a big deal in the playoffs. And so going to be a fun, exciting night tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
It should be fun. And Q, you talk about two blue bloods meeting up in a bi-district matchup, and these two teams may not know each other very well because they haven't faced each other since 1950, but they know about each other. They know the history about each other, and the atmosphere here should be outstanding for both fan bases. But if you're a player in this game, Q, and you've been here before, you can't let this game get too big, can you?
No, not at all. And I don't think the Temple Wildcats, I don't think Coach Stewart's going to allow his team to do that. I think he's going to realize, and that's something that he says to you each and every week when you meet with them, it's always, hey, we take it one game at a time, we don't look ahead, and we realize that it's just a football game. That's all it is. It's something we practice, we do every single day. It's just routine. So go out there and play Temple Wildcat football. And the thing about it, you mentioned the atmosphere, and it is kind of funny night, man. It's a little foggy and everything. It's a little wet outside because of the fog, but the fans are excited, man. I see signs in the stands right now. I see a bunch of news crews here, so you know it's a big deal, man. And the fans, they were giving me fist bumps on the way in. They know what time it is. This is no new thing for Temple Wildcat fans. They know about playoff football, and they are excited.
Well, and I want to ask both of you guys this, too. Is this a game that you look at and you hear people talk about them all the time, and you see them all the time? Is this a game where whichever team kind of settles down first has the advantage in this football game?
I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and again, that's the goal of the coaching staff is to get them settled in immediately. And I'm sure it's what Coach Stewart is telling the Wildcats in the locker room right now. Guys, don't get out there and don't hyperventilate. This is a young team. That's the one thing I will say. It's a very young team, so there's not a lot of senior leadership that's been there, done that multiple times. These are guys that, just dream about playing in the playoffs for the Temple Wildcats on the big stage. And so they have the big stage right now. And as long as they don't hyperventilate, they just go out there and play the style of ball that got them here, then they should be good. But again, they have to just realize it's just another football game.
Yeah, it also, I think the good news with that, Ward, for Wildcat fans is that as you look at the 10 games for the Wildcats and that 9-1 record that they're bringing in tonight, they've been tested. I mean, they were down 20 points against Harker Heights, kept their cool, kept their composure, pulled that off, and ended up getting out of there with a victory. Even the Longview game, they went in down at halftime at AT&T Stadium. We talked about that after the game and said, this team really showed they didn't lose their cool, they kept their composure. So for the Wildcats to show up tonight and not do that would actually not be in their DNA of what they've been showing us this season. Waxahachie, on the other hand, I think there's just a lot of question marks with this Waxahachie team. They're a team that's still been trying to find themselves. Their quarterback, Hawkins, just became quarterback 4 weeks ago. He was a wide receiver, a matter of fact, all-district wide receiver last season. He's now in that quarterback, a phenomenal athlete. But, Coach Alexander's just trying to piece together anything he could, trying to make it through that district in a way to get into the playoffs. So I think at Temple you have a lot more consistency, stability. Things are more known. I think Waxahachie is the one where you come in and you're going, man, there's some question marks about this team, and where are they on that journey? And you really, to your point and your question and Q's comments as well, the Wildcats just need to play their game, and no matter what you see coming at Waxahachie, just keep that consistent composure mindset that you've shown all season.
It is the bi-district championship here at Wildcat Stadium. The Temple Wildcats and the Waxahachie Indians. This is the Jim Pond pregame show. Temple Wildcat football is presented by Baylor Scott & White Roney Bone and Joint Institute. We'll take our first time out. When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Scott Stewart right after this on Fox Sports Central Texas.
We're clear.
Thank you.
Hey, Steven. Haircuts at Temple. Coach's interview with Temple head football coach Scott Stewart. My man Ward Whites has made his way over to coach. Take it away, Ward.
Thanks, Keon, with Coach Stewart just for game time. And, Coach, this is the third phase of the season. You had the non-district, got through the district, and now this is the third phase with playoffs. And pretty good night for it here at Wildcat Stadium.
Yeah, it's a little bit hazy right now, but hey, I mean, we're playing football in December. So a couple months ago, we didn't know if we were going to be playing football at all. And so to make it to the third season, man, it's fun. I told the kids, if I said it once, I said it 50 times, just enjoy this. Enjoy it while it's here, because I was probably one of those kids that was all serious about everything and didn't enjoy it. And man, this should be a fun time.
you get an opportunity to go against a team in Waxahachie coming out of a very tough district. And, we've talked about it before. Don't let that record deceive you. This is a good football team coming into Wildcat Stadium.
Oh, no question. I mean, not only did they was their schedule front-loaded with 3 teams that are 22-2 right now, but they do what good football teams do, and they play their best football going into the playoffs. And they've been, beating up on people the last 4 weeks, so they're coming in here with a ton of confidence. They got athletes all over the field, and they didn't ease their way in or slip their way in, into the playoffs. So it'll be a good football game, hopefully.
This offense that likes to run the ball, no mistake about it. How do you knock them off their skis and get them out of that rhythm?
You got to try to get them off the tracks. You got to try to get those guys in the bag. You got to try to get in their gears before, they hit. If they hit 3rd gear, and if they ever slip it into 4th and 5th gear, it's Katie bar the door. So you got to try to get to them early. We play teams like that this year, and that's the only way you have a chance of success. Because once they get loose and once they get in space, they're tough to tackle.
What do you have to do offensively? Is it stay on schedule and just be yourself more than anything else tonight?
Oh yeah, I mean, in my mind, if I had a wish list right here, long drives would be what I'd pick. I ain't gonna pass up big plays if they happen to come along, but man, keeping number 1 and number 8 and all those monsters on the offense and keeping them on the sideline is a lot more favorable for the Wildcats, in my opinion, than going out there and scoring in 10 seconds and giving them the ball back. So, you got to stay ahead of the chains, and what that allows you to do, we talk about it every week. It keeps the playbook open and it lets you, just kind of go, lets the coaches go call the game.
When you get to this point in the season, how big are special teams on a game like tonight?
We've talked about it all week long, and you and I have talked about it all year long. But I mean, it's do or die. I mean, I made a reference to 300 today. In the movie 3, and the Spartans. The wives used to tell them before they go to battle, you either come home with your shield or on your shield. In other words, there ain't no walking back and saying we got beat. You either come back with a victory or you die. Well, one of these 2 teams is going to die tonight, and that sounds a little finalistic and it sounds a little bit dramatic, but I mean that's the very real. That's the reality of what we're living with. I mean, one of these teams will not play football as the team stand right now ever again. So we've got to go out there and play like it's our last game, and if you do that, it gives you a chance to play another one.
Coach, you win the flip, you know what you're going to do yet?
I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do. I might want to get ready to see a little defense out there.
All right, Coach. Best of luck. We'll talk in the winner's circle after the ball game.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Q.
I love the 300 reference. It's actually a movie reference that I understood. I like that, man. That was deep right there. That was the Locker Room Haircuts and Temple Coach's pregame interview with Temple head football coach Scott Stewart. More of the Gen Pond pregame show is coming up next here on AM 1330 and 93.9 FM, Fox Sports Central Texas.
Johnny's Cleaners has location is in
And welcome back to Temple Wildcat Football, presented by Baylor Scott and White, Roney Bone and Joint Institute. Warren White's Art Coley, Alan Roark in the booth, Stephen Simcox producing, and your boy Q on the sidelines. Time now in the Jim Pond pregame show to take a look at 12-6A and other games of interest in the playoffs coming up, brought to you by Wings Pizza and Things. And Art.
Yeah, Ward, it's been tough.
The district hasn't fared so well so far.
District 12-6A, the Heights and Shoemaker are the two representatives from our district that are from the district that are in Division 1, and they both played last night. Heights was up against number 2 ranked Duncanville and lost 60-14. That was at Duncanville. Shoemaker hosted DeSoto, the number 11th ranked team in the state, and they lost at Leo Buckley 57-32. So Shoemaker and Heights are out after last night. Tonight, of course, the other two teams in our district, Bryan, they're playing at Cedar Hill. Once again, the gauntlet doesn't stop. Because Cedar Hill's the 8th ranked team in the state, so it's going to be a tough battle for Bryan, and that comes down to Temple and Waxahachie, where Temple, may be the only team from our district with a shot to get to round 2 for tonight. And then the big news here, Ward, is that Temple takes care of business tonight and wins round 1. They play the winner of Rockwall Heath and Garland. That game kicking off just about the same time as us. And just an interesting note, many already know this, but Rockwall Heath, who is favored in that game, that would be the most likely opponent Temple would be meeting. That's Coach Spradlin heading that team up, which was the coach that came in and really got the Wildcat program back on track, brought Coach Stewart in as his defensive coordinator in 2014. And so that'd be just an interesting matchup in round 2, wouldn't it? To have Coach Spradlin and Coach Stewart going head-to-head in a round 2 playoff game. But you got to get through Waxahachie tonight first, and don't get ahead of yourself.
There you go. Look at 12-6A and other games brought to you by Wings Pizza and Things. This is the Jim Pond pregame show. Now it is time to take a look at your starting lineups, brought to you by Ashford Homes, represented by Bradley Shepard. And with that Temple Wildcat defense, here's Art Coley.
Yeah, let's start with that defensive front. Number 13, junior. 5, junior Eric Shorter. Number 95, defensive tackle, senior Javen Taylor. Number 44, senior Cody Little at that other tackle. The other defensive end, number 90, junior Tommy Torres. Linebackers for the Wildcats, number 5, sophomore Torian York. Number 9, junior Phelan Lee. Number 11, junior Marshall Grays. And in the secondary for the Wildcats, left cornerback, number 4, senior Keon Williams. Free safety, number 15, junior Jaden Jackson. Strong safety, number 2, junior Otarian Peoples. And finally, at right cornerback, number 17, senior Carlton Mack. Ward, that's your Wildcat defense.
Taking a look at the Wildcat offense. Up front, left tackle, number 53, junior Colby Rice. At left guard, senior number 64, Kay Lynn. At center, senior number 57, Matthew Fry. At right guard, senior number 66, Alan Camacho. At right tackle, senior number 58, Alex Rodriguez. The wideouts, number 3, senior A.J. McDuffie. And number 12, senior Luke Allen. Number 18, senior Tadarius Taylor. At the tight end position, junior number 30, Keandre Smith. The running back, junior number 8, Samari Howard. And the quarterback, senior number 10, Humberto Arizmendi. There is your starting offense, brought to you by Ashford Homes, represented by Bradley Shepard. Time now for Q's and Art's keys to the game. And Q, we'll start with you. The keys for the Wildcats to come out of here with another gold ball tonight.
I think it's got to be on the defensive side of things because, Waxahachie's going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to hold those possessions and just kind of take the air out of the game. And I think that the defense of the Temple Wildcats has to do what they've been doing all season long, which is really kind of dominate and control the line of scrimmage. So I really think it all starts up front with those defensive linemen, those guys that Art rattled off earlier. Man, those guys are dudes. They go and get after it, and I think they need to be dudes tonight and get after Waxahachie. And if they do, they come away with the dub.
Art, your keys.
Offensively, Arizmendi needs to set the tone. If he's on his game and leading as he has been, when we look at some of these tough wins for the Wildcats over this season, a lot of that has been dependent upon Arizmendi being able to make good decisions between whether to use his arm or his arms or using his legs. So a balanced attack with Arizmendi leading that. On defense, echoing what Q said, and I'll just say it this way, they do not want the quarterback Hawkins, number 1. He's number 1 out there. He's an athlete. You do not want him running. If he has a big night tonight, it could be a long night and the end of the road for the Wildcats. They need to make him pass. So we're back to the defensive line that Q mentioned. And then Ward, the third thing that I'm just going to talk about here was just I think the team that plays a little bit with the chip on their shoulder. We talked about it in the playoff preview. Both of these teams moved up to Class 6A in the last realignment last 2 years ago. Neither one of them have a playoff win. So, coming in, don't forget that. Let's, go get that win tonight. A little bit of an attitude.
There is Q and Arch. Keys to the game brought to you by Johnson Brothers Ford. And Q, I'll go to you. The atmosphere tonight for a playoff game from up here, it looks like it may be the best atmosphere we've had all season long. And this is the first time here at Wildcat Stadium we've had a visiting band in the stadium as well.
Yeah, man, it's playoff football, man. I'm excited. The coaches just came by. They all fist bumped me. I got a big bro hug from Coach Knox, of course, as I always do. Hey, how you doing? And it's fun, man. There's smiles on everyone's faces that I can see through the mask. And it's just playoff atmosphere. You can hear the crowd cheering as the Temple Wildcats take the field. The smoke is on the field, and I think that's not going to go away for a while. It's that weather. I just got lost. I just got caught up in it. I should make a music video coming out of it right now.
There he is on the sideline.
Hey.
Q, brought to you by Texas Tour Gear here at Wildcat Stadium. Wildcat football is presented by Baylor Scott and White, Rony Bone and Joint Institute. And, Coach, I'll go to you quickly before we take the break. The weather conditions here at Wildcat Stadium.
Earlier, Ward, it was, it rained most of the day. We had trouble seeing out of the windows because of the humidity in the air. Right now it's around 60 degrees. The rain has moved out, and we can actually see the field now from the press box. And it looks to be a wonderful night weather-wise for football.
There you go. Game time weather conditions brought to you by Performance Food Services. You've been listening to the Jim Pond pregame show. We'll take our final time out. When we come back, we'll have the coin toss and your opening kickoff. Wildcat football presented by Baylor Scott and White, Rony Bone and Joint Institute continues right after this on Fox Sports Central Texas.
Under the direction of Brent Matheson. Please stand for the national anthem. Meeting at the center of the field are the captains for the two teams. For the visiting Waxahachie Indians, number 7 is Quincy Johnson. For the Temple Wildcats, number 4, Keon Williams. Sorry, that's number 3, A.J. McDuffie.
Captain, we look to you to go to him, pull him back, talk to him, calm him down, because we don't want to have to flag anybody. That's not why we're out here right here watching football, right? All that being said, toss earlier, we determined Temple, you're going to receive, and you're going to kick this way, correct? All right, that's what we're going to announce real quick, and we'll get after it.
All right, Q, go ahead and give us the results of that, please.
Waxahachie won the kick, or won the toss. They're going to defer, and they're going to kick off the Temple. So the Wildcats will be on the field with their offense first.
All right, thank you, Q, on the sidelines. Brought to you by Texas Tour Gear. We're just about ready to get underway here at Wildcat Stadium. It's the bi-district championship between the Temple Wildcats and the Waxahachie Indians, and the Wildcats will receive the ball on the west end, and they'll go right to left to start this ball game, and Waxahachie will kick toward the Jumbotron here at Wildcat Stadium. Hey, a big shout out to Coach Steve Prentice for going above and beyond the duty tonight here at Wildcat Stadium. Just a few minutes ago, we could not see out the windows at all, and Coach lined up on the press box and got the windows cleared off to where we can see somewhat out of here, and what a great job he always does. We appreciate Coach Prentice and the entire staff here at Temple High School for what they do. Sports World brings you the kickoff, and getting ready to send this one deep to the Wildcats will be Clyde Fettig. And back deep to receive is Samari Howard, and also going to be Tadarius Taylor for the Wildcats, standing at about their 5-yard line.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but even the music is louder tonight, man. This is playoff music now.
Now the Cats are going to scoot up and take the high pooch kick that's going to come down at the 15-yard line, out to the 20, to the 25, pauses, gets to the 30, out to the 33-yard line is Taylor on the return that time of 16 yards, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Wildcats.
Well, this is where we're getting to see now. I'm actually a fan of the Wildcats being on offense first here. I think this is a chance for Arizmendi for them to go ahead and set the tone for the game right here against this Waxahachie defense. Make those right reads, march it down, and get an early score.
Shocking, the quarterback would say he wants the ball first.
Up front for the Indians is a senior, junior, and a sophomore. Luna, Bex, and Robinson going left to right. Arizmendi in shotgun, 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and he'll hand off to Samari Howard. Tries to get up the middle, and he does, out to the 45-yard line, and then he is shoestring tackled from behind by Robinson, but not before he picks up 11 yards, and it's a Las Vegas Jewelers first down. Cats will go pace with a split receiver to the left, 1 to the right. They'll put Howard in motion now to the left. 3-step drop, looking downfield now. Arizmendi's going to pull it down. He'll get to midfield, to the 45, to the 40, knocked off his feet at the 43, and the ball pops out. It's still on the ground, and I think Waxahachie got on it at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Temple Wildcat had an opportunity to get on the ball, and he tried to pick it up and looked like he was trying to run with it, which you can't do. You just got to fall on it, and Waxahachie comes away with a big turnover, and that's what happens when you defer and you kick the ball off. All you got to do is make a stand, and all of a sudden the tide is you're on your side. So the ball's a little slippery, man. Everything's a little wet because of the moisture in the air, so something to pay attention to throughout the course of the game.
Here on the sidelines, brought to you by Texas Tour Gear, and after a 21-yard run by the quarterback, he coughs the ball up, and here comes the Indian offense back the other way with 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. And now the official wants the play clock reset.
Please reset the play clock to 25 seconds.
In the all-white trimmed in green. One back in the backfield. That's Sean Cherry and Brandon Hawkins in a shotgun formation for the Indians. On 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. He'll take the snap, and it's a quarterback keeper all the way. And he slips down and loses 2 yards back at the 33-yard line. He had a little bit of a lane there, Art.
Yeah, it was just a little play action. Quarterback keep taking it around the end, and you don't know what was going to happen there, but Hawkins looked like he might have had a little room in the slip or little Q already mentioned the moisture. I'm sure that had something to do with that slip there by the Waxahachie quarterback.
2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. They go left to right. 2 backs in the backfield, and Hawkins in a shotgun formation. He'll turn, fake it to Cherry, and throw the swing back's intercepted. And going back the other way to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Wildcats! How about Marshall Graves with the pick 6 to put the Cats up 6-0?
Mama, there goes that man. Marshall Graves has had a good game, about 3, 4, 5 games in a row. Really been dominating all season long, but another pick for the young man, and he takes it to the house and puts 6 on the board.
Marshall Graves is the kind of guy that always seems when he makes a turnover, it really counts. That was huge.
Swinging gate by the Cats after the Smile at the World Orthodontics Dr. Josh Knowles touchdown. PAT from Clem McKeska's Barbecue. They'll stay in the swinging gate and snap it to Samari Howard. He'll go to the right, into the end zone. 2-point conversion is good. Your new score from Wildcat Stadium, Temple 8, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football continues right after this on Fox Sports Central Texas.
Woo-hoo! Wow, what a start.
I'm a little shocked their second play from scrimmage was a pass. I mean, even if it was a little flare out to the running back. I mean, I'm just surprised. They're horrible at passing the ball.
Yeah,
we see that.
They're terrible.
Four total plays and 2 turnovers.
Did you hear that, Q?
No.
What, Alan? What? Oh.
Wildcat Stadium, Wildcat football presented by Baylor Scott and White, Roney Bone and Joint Institute. As the Cats take an 8-0 lead, 2 turnovers quickly in this ball game with 10:52 to go in the Temple Furniture and Appliance first quarter. As Wagaman gets ready to kick off the Sports World kickoff back to the Indians offense. And Aaron puts his foot into leather, and it's a short kick that'll come down at about the 7-yard line. Out to the 15, to the 20, stutter steps, and gets to the 25-yard line. On the return that time for the Wildcats was Jaden Becks, the wide receiver, and he'll return the ball 15 yards, and that's where the Indians will take over 1st and 10 at the 25.
Yeah, Ward, you mentioned the 2 turnovers, but one thing we know in sports and in football is that each turnovers are not equal. And the turnover by Waxahachie was 6 points plus a 2-point conversion, giving Wildcats the 8-0 go-ahead here early in the game.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Shotgun formation for Hawkins, and he'll turn and hand to Terry, the big back, and Graves will attack him right as he crosses the 25 at the 26-yard line. They'll give him the 27, so it'll be 2nd down and 8 coming up for the Indians.
I just really think that the Waxahachie Indians have a tall task tonight because this Wildcat defense is so strong. They've just been a bedrock of the Wildcat football team this whole season. And because this Waxahachie offense is one-dimensional, they really don't have a pass attack, it really puts them in a tough spot.
It's 2nd down and 8, ball on the right hash. They'll have a satellite with 3 receivers to the left, 1 back in the backfield with Hawkins, and it's a quarterback keeper all the way looking for a lane, and he finds a little bit of a crease and leans forward out to the 34-yard line. It's going to be a yard short of the sticks, and the 1st down coming across, making the play that time was Tommy Torres, and so now a 3rd down for the Indians.
Well, one thing that Waxahachie does to help that run, Ward, is that both tackles are 290 pounds, 300 pounds. Their guards are 240 and 285 pounds. So they've got some beef on that front line, offensive line for Waxahachie.
3rd down and 1 coming up for the Indians, and a pistol formation now with the split receiver to the left, 1 to the right, and Hawkins will take and give to Cherry right up the middle. He'll lean across the 35 to the 36-yard line behind that offensive line. He'll gain 4 on the carry all the way out to the 38-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians.
That's a big boy. Coach Stewart said it in the pregame interview with you, Ward. He said number 8, number 1, those are two dynamic players, but number 8 got some big size on him, so he's going to be a guy that's going to try to pound it inside on this Temple defense.
Yeah, he is the workhorse for this offense. There's no doubt about it. You're right, Q. Split receiver to the right, one to the left, two backs in the backfield, and offset. As Hawkins in that shotgun, he'll turn and hand to Cherry again, and Cherry hit in the backfield, and he'll bounce off shorter, and then the rest of the cavalry comes in and makes the play. Cody Little in on the stomp along with Javen Taylor for the Wildcats. It'll be a gain of 2, second down and 8 coming up for the Indians, who go left to right. Early going here, 8-0 for the Wildcats in front in the Temple Furniture and Appliance first quarter with 8:37 and rolling.
Well, Q's defensive line is showing up because so far in this game on the plays, really everything anything that Waxahachie's getting on the outside, they're hitting a wall when they try to run up the middle so far.
3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Cherry in the backfield with Hawkins in shotgun, and he'll ride Cherry and give it to him, trying to get to the edge on the left, and he'll bounce off a couple of Wildcats and lean forward out to the 45-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3 coming up for the Indians, but a nice play by the Wildcats being able to string that out, and knocking him off his tracks was York first.
And that's what you're going to have to do against a guy like Cherry. You're going to have to go there, you're going to have to hit him, you're going to rattle him, and then you're going to wait for the cavalry to get there, because this dude is not going to come down with just one little arm tackle or a dive at the knees.
It'll be 3rd down and about 3 for the Indians. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. 1 back in the backfield with Hawkins in shotgun. Trying to move his receiver inside. He does do so, and now he'll take the ball and run the option to the near side. Pitches to Cherry, and it's a disaster for the Indians as the Wildcats had that sniffed out. And there is Eric Shorter. He just sliced into the backfield, and it's a loss of 6. It'll be 4th down and 8 coming up for the Indians.
Well, the whole point about Waxahachie not being able to pass the ball, here it is 3rd and 3. The Wildcats do not normally blitz, and you wouldn't even blitz typically on a 3rd and 3 because there's just too many things you could do. Here they did. They brought two of the linebackers on a blitz. Wildcats weren't even worried about a pass, and that's that one dimension that's really going to work against Waxahachie tonight.
So the Indians will punt it back to the Wildcats. Taylor will stand at about his 20-yard line, and it's a high kick that he'll catch in the air at the 20 to the 25, weaves his way, and he'll be in trouble and go down at the 26. A 6-yard return that time by Taylor. Nice coverage on the punt unit by the Indians, and back doing the punting for the Indians that time was Clyde Mellick, Hard to see their roster. It's very, very small, sorry.
Taylor's a fun dude, and you know every time he gets his hands on the ball, he's trying to make something happen, so you never know what's going to happen. When he looks like he's bottled up, you just kind of got to hold your breath and see what happens. That dude is electric, and Waxahachie knows it.
Cats on their second possession of the night fumbled the first one away, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. A split receiver to the near side, 1 to the far side as they go right to left here at Wildcat Stadium. Shotgun for Arizmendi, and he'll ride Howard and take it right up the middle. A big hole, steps out of a tackle, gets to the 40, to the 45, across the 45, out to the 48-yard line. A gain that time of 18 yards, and it's a loss to Vika Jewelers' 1st down for the Cats.
And Arizmendi had both hands on that. He had it double wrapped. He had it locked down. He was not letting go of that ball.
1st and 10 for the Cats. Quickly they go. They'll hand it off to Howard, trying to get on the left side, and he is hit at the line of scrimmage and driven back by about 4 white jerseys. There first for the Indians was Corey King, the sophomore, and he is a safety that got to the backfield pretty quick that time for the Indians. It'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Wildcats.
You know, going back to that play from Arizmendi, Art, how much do you think he said, I'm going to run this next one? I'm going to make sure I hold on to it.
2 receivers to the near side. Now they'll flip the formation strong to the near side. Shotgun formation. Arizmendi will pitch it to Howard. He steps out of 1 tackle and then's hit at the line of scrimmage just as he crosses it. Maybe a yard on the gain that time, but he was brought down by Joshua Luna for the Indians. It'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Wildcats. Ball sits on the left hash.
Well, we talk about good defense. Waxahachie's shown good defense those last 2 plays up front and really shutting that Wildcat down, Samari Howard down.
2 receivers to the near side, and Arizmendi looks to go deep and trying to get to Pilot, and Laundry on the field, brought to you by Johnny's Cleaners. That's going to be holding against the Indians. I don't think it was interference. Q, you're right there on top of it, but I think he might have grabbed the jersey.
Yeah, it looked like a jersey tug. It looked like the ball wasn't going to be caught, so I really find it hard to believe they'll call interference. But it looks like a hold, and that's a first, right? Or is it?
That's an automatic first down, yeah.
Okay. That's
absolutely. It's just as good as the interference nowadays because interference is not
Holding
the spot foul either.
Yeah.
But it's an automatic first down.
24. 10 yards
that's all
from
they
the
needed
previous
to kind
spot.
of get things jump
Automatic
started.
first down.
And speaking of, you said laundry on the field. How about those names on the back of these Wildcat jerseys?
How about that? We didn't even mention that to start with, and that was done by Johnny's Cleaners, right?
Yes, sir. Sure was.
How about that? Thanks to Johnny's Cleaners.
Louis, appreciate
It looks
those
sharp,
guys.
man. It looks sharp.
Maybe we can get your name on the back of your top down there.
I mean, look, I only got a letter.
Shouldn't cost that much.
Ah!
Split receiver to the far side, one to the near side on the Las Vegas Jewelers first down. And shotgun formation for Arizmendi. Once again, he rides Howard, and Howard trying to get on the outside on the right. He'll gain a yard before he is knocked down by the Indians. And coming up and making the play that time, Jackson Robinson, the sophomore in for the Indians. It'll be 2nd down and 9 coming up for the Wildcats.
You know, one of the things on that last deep ball, that was the cornerback for Waxahachie Thompson. He's their weaker cornerback, so expect the deep ball to attack him.
Snap back to Arizmendi, looking to go deep again. Right down the middle, wide open is the Wildcats, and making the catch, and Smith gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats. Wow, he was so wide open, I got a little bit lost there.
He did too. He was so wide open, he couldn't believe it, man. He almost got tripped up by the turf monster, but the big tight end was able to make the catch, get into the end zone, put another 6 on the board.
14-0 with your PAT up and coming. Touchdown brought to you by Smile at the World Orthodontics. And I'm not kidding, it took a second to figure out what was happening there because Arizmendi actually pumped the ball twice before he threw the ball deep.
Well, Arizmendi fooled me because, look here.
And here comes the swinging gate again, and I believe this time he's going to be denied as Howard could not get into the end zone. And there is laundry on the field brought to you by Johnny's Cleaners, and this might be offsides against the Indians.
Back to the Arizmendi pass that you were talking about, Ward. He did give
Offsides.
a couple pump fakes
On the right side of the defense.
That's where I thought he was going with the ball, and then
There will be a
turned.
five-
So
After this-
by that pump fake and the look of his eyes, the linebackers just let Smith go right through the middle for a wide open pass.
So the Cats will now go to the traditional PAT after offsides called against the Indians, and Howard will come in and hold for Wagaman for the Clem McCuskers Barbecue PAT. 14-0, your PAT up and coming. Movement again, snap back, hold down, kick is up, and this one is good. There is laundry on the field, but if this is offsides, they'll decline that. Offsides against the defense, declined by the Cats, and so they'll take the points on the board. Your new score from Wildcat Stadium, Temple 15 and Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football continues in 1 minute on Fox Sports Central Texas.
Everything in our world is connected. At Grande, we continue to invest millions in our fiber-rich network so you can have the most reliable connections when you need them most. These connections inspire our greatest passions in life. And as you follow your dreams, we're here for you every step of the way, 24/7, with our award-winning customer service, until one day, you become who you were always meant to be. Keep your family and home connected with Grande's lightning-fast internet. Imagine better with Grande.
Temple's number 1, Aaron Wagaman, will kick off for the Wildcats.
Welcome back to Temple Wildcat football here on Fox Sports Central Texas. Ward Wines, Art Coley, Alan Roark in the booth, your boy Q on the sideline, Stephen Simcox back in the Fox Sports studios, and a high kick from Wagaman will drive him back in the end zone. He'll kneel down and he'll take the ball at the 25-yard line. Back receiving that kickoff that time was Blair Williams for the Indians. Your new score at Wildcat Stadium, Temple 15 and Waxahachie nothing. Time now for your McGuire Tire scoring summary, and here is Stephen Simcox.
It took 5 plays for the Wildcats to cover 74 yards. Arizmendi to Smith on a 42-yard touchdown pass, and it took 1:52 off the clock, Ward.
Thank you, Stephen. McGuire Tires brings you the scoring summary. 15-0, 4:51 to go in the Temple Furniture and Appliance first quarter. Here come the Indians on 1st and 10 at the 25. Ball sits in the middle of the field in the white, trimmed in green. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side as they go left to right. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. Cherry to his right. Long snap count. Now he'll take it as quarterback draw all the way, trying to work to the right side, and Grays is there first, and several blue jerseys on top with a scrum across the 30-yard line, and they'll give him forward progress to the 31 before he is finally brought down. So a pretty good gain that time by the quarterback.
Well, that is their game right there. Is Hawkins with the occasional handoff to Cherry. That's what they like to do.
2nd down and 5 coming up, and it's quarterback right up the middle again. He's trying to pick a hole, and he does so, but then he's tracked down from the side, and coming in and making the play that time was Cody Little for the Wildcats. He'll gain a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Indians.
Well, Jaden Jackson, number 15, just got a little lesson about how quick Hawkins is. Did you see that cue?
Yeah.
He got that. Hawkins put a move on him and he got up, and you can see he's like, okay, keep your head up. That's why you keep your head up.
Split receiver to the far side, 1 to the near side. Pistol formation now for Hawkins, and Cherry behind him. He'll turn and hand to Cherry, working the left side. Has a big hole up the middle. He'll pick up the yardage needed for the 1st down out to the 38-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians.
Q, I'm really interested in this battle between Tommy Torres, the Wildcat defensive end at 6'5" and 255 pounds, against the Waxahachie best lineman, number 72, Dorsey. He's 6'4", 290.
Wow.
I'm curious to see how those battles play out.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. Cherry to his right. Turn and hand the ball off to Cherry, trying to get to the left edge, and he does so. Has a seam up the middle to midfield to 40, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20. Still on his feet, and he's finally tracked down at the 10-yard line. They'll get him to the 8-yard line on progress, but a big run that time by Cherry of 52 yards. And Q, you see why he's the go-to guy.
Absolutely. And Art, you were talking about the offensive lineman. How about Vince Hill, number 79, the left tackle? That's a big boy too.
2 receivers to the far side. Hawkins will take it right up the middle, and he is caught in the backfield, and a nice job that time by Eric Shorter to grab him by the ankles and pull him down. It'll be 2nd down and goal to go for the Indians.
Well, that previous long run by Cherry was made up by just an incredible block on Marshall Grays off there on the outside that opened up that lane. But look, it's what we've talked about before. It was one of the keys that I was saying to the game. The Wildcats have to make Waxahachie pass the ball. They do not let them get their run game started, or you could be in trouble.
Long pause by the Indians to try to get back to the line of scrimmage. They huddle up. Now they break the huddle. 2nd down and goal to go. Pistol formation with Hawkins in a shotgun. Cherry right behind him, and the ball is on the ground. Still on the ground, and the Cats have it. The Cats come up with the football at the 9-yard line, and a big recovery that time by Cody Little, and the Cats take over on offense.
You know what happened is the center snapped the ball, and the quarterback wasn't looking. It bounced right off his shin and went right back towards the Temple defensive line, and Little jumped on it, and a big turn of events right there. And now see if Temple can turn things around and really get into the end zone and kind of really put their foot on the gas here.
2nd turnover of the ball game for this Wildcat defense, and they'll take over 1st and 10 with the shadows of the goalpost at their back at the 9-yard line.
And give Carlton Mack a lot of credit. He stopped that touchdown from happening. Cherry was gone, and Mack caught him from behind. That's an effort. Effort kept 6 points from being on the board.
1st and 10 for the Cats. Split receiver to the right, 1 to the left. Shotgun formation. Arizmendi takes it and hands it off to Howard. Howard stutter steps, finds a little crease, and gets outside the 10 to about the 13-yard line. A nice job that time by Howard, just being patient and letting that hole open up. Dakota Brown on the stop for the Indians.
Yeah, Samari just really got in behind Lynn and Rice, and Ryan just kind of waited for it to develop. Good patient running.
Turn and keep by Arizmendi again. Steps out of another tackle and spins his way out to the 23-yard line. A pickup that time of 9 yards, and it's a loss to Vika Jewelers' 1st down for the Cats. Arizmendi doing a nice job of riding Howard just to the last minute and freezing those linebackers enough to where he can find a crease.
And he's been doing that and getting better at that each and every week we've seen throughout the season. He's just kind of matured in that area.
2 receivers to the right, 1 back in the backfield, and that's Howard. He'll fake it to him, looking to go deep again, and he holds on to the football a little bit too long as he is swallowed up from the backside, and coming across and making the play that time for the Indians right off the edge was Glenn Cobb.
And Arizmendi was looking at the go route there. I think it was to A.J. McDuffie. He was watching him along the sidelines, and he was covered. So Arizmendi's play there just to hold the ball and actually take the sack was the right call.
Now they're behind the chains on 2nd and 14, and this time he tries to ride Howard. Howard wanted the football and wouldn't give it up. That's almost really a busted play that time by the Cats. It'll be 3rd down and 14 coming up.
Well, the Wildcats are lucky that's not a fumble. Arizmendi, he's there's one thing about riding them long and this and that, but that was just a little too long. He's got to make that decision sooner.
Press coverage by the defensive backs at the corners with a split receiver to the right and one to the left for the Cats. 40 seconds remaining in the Temple Furniture and Appliance first quarter. 15-0 with the Cats having the lead on 3rd down and long. Snap back to Arizmendi, looking to go down the right side. Has a receiver and tried to climb the ladder on the far side was A.J. McDuffie. Just could not get up to the next rung, and it is incomplete. It'll be 4th down and 14 coming up for the Wildcats.
And it didn't result in anything. They didn't get down the field. They didn't get in the end zone, but they didn't allow Waxahachie to get in the end zone either. So you punt the ball, Art, sometimes that's okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about Arizmendi, just eating the ball on that. That whole drive was really kind of started out wrong with the sack, putting them in a 2nd and long. But it may have not been the wrong decision if you're going to throw an interception.
Wagaman with the punt, and it's high and deep, and the Cats trying to get away from it now, and it'll take a left turn at the 50-yard line and down there by the Cats. 31 yards on the punt, no return, and the Indians will take over with 17 seconds remaining in the Temple Furniture and Appliance first quarter. Cats lead at 15-0. It'll be 1st and 10 at midfield for the Indians.
You know, as we wind down the first quarter here with the 17 seconds, probably maybe a couple more plays here depending on what they do, but you kind of get the sense that it's Waxahachie that is showing up maybe with a little of the butterflies in the stomach and trying to get themselves settled down.
1st and 10, Hawkins in a shotgun formation, 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. He'll turn around and give it to Cherry on the right side, gets to midfield again, and he is brought down there. Nice job on the stop that time by the Cats. Jaden Jackson and Cody Little on the stop. It'll be a gain of about 2. 2nd down and 8
That's the end of the first
up,
quarter.
and that will be the end of the Temple Furniture and Appliance first quarter. Your score from Wildcat Stadium, Temple 15, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football continues in 1 minute on Fox Sports Central Texas.
Hey fans, this year Johnson Brothers Ford is celebrating 38 years of serving Central Texas and another great season sponsoring the Temple High School Wildcats. We love watching that blue front, white back magic on the field, and we're proud to join our community as we cheer on the Cats together. Good luck to all the players, coaches, parents, and fans. Let's make it happen in 2020.
Johnson Brothers, making it happen.
Go Cats!
Second down, 8 to go for Waxahachie.
Welcome back to Wildcat football here on Fox Sports Central Texas. They throw the bubble screen on the right side as we got back to play just a little bit quickly. It's complete and picks up 11 yards on the reception. That time was the wideout for the Indians, Ashton Wright, and a good gain into Wildcat territory at the 39-yard line. They'll have 1st and 10 on the right hash. Waxahachie now goes right to left, split receiver to the far side, 2 to the near side. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. Cherry in the backfield with him. He'll turn and give the ball to Cherry, working on the right side, and he is hit, and he'll lean forward for about 3 on the carry. Coming up again, Jackson on the stop with some help up front that time by Javion Taylor. It'll be 2nd down and 8 coming up for the Indians, and boy, when he falls forward for positive yards.
That's what 200 pounds of solid muscle helps for a running back to do. That'll happen.
2nd down and 8, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Shotgun formation for the Indians. Ball on the right hash. Hawkins awaits the shotgun snap. He'll take it, and this time he'll give it to Cherry again, trying to get to the edge, and Jackson comes up and makes the tackle after he gets inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 5 coming up for the Indians.
You know, good pursuit from the Wildcat defense. I mean, again, Cherry's a tough hombre to bring down, man. And so when they go to get him, they got to get him with, go there and arrive with bad intentions. Get 3 or 4 guys there on the ball to get Cherry down.
3rd down and 5 coming up for the Indians. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Shotgun for Hawkins. He'll take the snap, 3-step drop, looking to throw, and he'll throw it to the near side, and it's incomplete. Intended for the slot back that time, Joseph Langford, but good coverage by Jackson, jars the ball loose, and it'll be 4th down and 5 for the Indians.
Well, the irony of that is that we've kind of picking on Hawkins a little bit about his passing. That pass looked like it was on the money.
Oh, it was.
And it was just 100% a dropped pass. The Wildcats actually lucked out on that with the receiver dropping it.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like they got no doubt about it, go for it on 4th down, kind of in no man's land, and they need something to get going offensively. So here's a big play for the Wildcat defense.
15-0 with 10:18 and counting here in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter on 4th down and 5 for the Indians in a pistol formation. Hawkins takes the snap, turn, fakes it to Cherry, looking to go downfield. He's being pressured. Now he'll pull the ball down and run. He's got lots of real estate in front of him to the 20-15-10, cuts it back and knocked off his feet at the 6-yard line. Coming up and making the play that time for the Wildcats was Keon Williams, but not before he chews up 28 yards, and it's 1st and goal to go for the Cats. For the Indians, excuse me. That was just an athletic play that time.
Well, it was. Go ahead, Q.
Oh, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. Just broken play, and he just made something happen.
Well, the Wildcats broke down under discipline, too. They weren't containing. I mean, really, Marshall, Phelan Lynn allowed him to get outside.
Pistol formation for the Indians. Hawkins takes it, and this time he'll keep it himself, working on the right side, and kind of stumbles forward for about a yard, maybe a yard and a half, before he is brought down by the Wildcats. And a good job up front that time by Cody Little and Taylor and Torres to kind of bottle him up. I think he thought he wanted to hand the ball off to Cherry, but he got past him too quick.
Yeah, he did. And Art, going back to that last play, the lack of containment from the Wildcats, how much of that has to do with the fact that the quarterback slipped? And when he slipped, it almost was like one of those, go get him
That's
moments.
it. No, I agree completely, Q. It was almost like they were smelling blood,
Yeah.
and so they were just going right to him, and when he got his feet underneath him, all he had to do was take a step to the right, and he went for whatever, 30 yards.
Pistol formation again. Hawkins in a shotgun. He'll turn and fake the handoff to Cherry, looking to the end zone, still looking. Now he's going to pull the ball down and still try to get it there, and he is hit by Grays, but he gets away from Grays, floats back to the far side of the field and throws it away, and it'll be 3rd down and goal. The Cats had him dead to rights on the left side of the field, and Coach Stewart is screaming at his defense to make the tackle.
Just went too high. Grays went too high. It was a combination of Hawkins being slippery and started to duck, but Grays tried to get that tackle. He tried to arrive there with bad intentions instead of just breaking down and getting him on the ground.
Well, Wildcats have certainly faced big, strong, athletic quarterbacks. That's one thing District 12 6A has a lot of. And what they're not doing, though, the Wildcats aren't treating Hawkins the same way. They're not breaking down in front of it.
Right.
It'll be 3rd and goal to go. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Hawkins in a shotgun, Cherry to his right. Long snap count. He'll turn. This time he's going to keep it right up the middle, and he'll be hit and leans forward to about the 1-yard line. And closing in from the side that time was Jaden Jackson, as he'll bring him down short of the goal line. It'll be 4th and goal to go from the 1.
Can't imagine Cherry's not going to get the ball on this play, right?
You would think that's it.
You're at the 5-yard line, 1st and goal, and you don't give it to him one time. Gotta imagine it's going to go to Cherry right now.
And they'll be in the pistol with Cherry behind Hawkins, split receiver to both sides of the formation. Indians trying to get on the board. Snap back to Hawkins. Cherry he keeps it himself, and he's in all kinds of trouble and dropped at the 5-yard line. And there is Marshall Grays coming up with the play as the Cats close the door on the Indians.
That's huge stop by the Wildcat defense. And you know what? I have to take back what I said earlier, because the Wildcats there, they didn't fall for any head fakes. They just broke down and locked Cherry down, or Hawkins down, and trapped him and contained him, and not let any of that jukes or movement throw somebody off.
Yeah, Graves broke down on that one.
Yes.
Coach Stewart gave him a little pep talk on the sideline when he went out to the numbers and let him know about it. He broke down and did not, like you said, he didn't go for the okey doke, and he got him on the ground. And again, still surprised that 4 plays inside the 5, and number 8 doesn't touch it once.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cats at the 5-yard line. They're going left to right now for the first time tonight. Split receiver to the far side, one to the near side. Howard in the backfield with Arizmendi in shotgun, stands on his own goal line. Low snap, but he picks it up, throws the out route to A.J. A.J. makes a great catch and stretches it out to the 10-yard line. A nice job by A.J. McDuffie, just all hands there, Q.
Yeah, absolutely. He really had to stretch and get that one, and he did. He tried to climb the ladder on the other last possession and wasn't able to get it, but that time he stretched out and got the catch and got a nice little gain on first down.
Split receiver to the far side, one to the near side, snap back, and this time they'll give it to Howard. Howard tries to bounce it up the middle, and now he finds a crease on the outside, out to the 15, steps out of a tackle, to the 20, and steps out of bounds at the 21-yard line. A pickup that time of 11 yards, and it's a Las Vegas Jewelers first down for the Cats.
Well, it's the exact opposite for Waxahachie. The Wildcat defense knows they really have to stop the run, not that worried about the pass. But Waxahachie, this Wildcat offense has put up 2,000 yards rushing and passing this season, so they really have to respect both aspects of the game.
1st and 10 for the Cats. Split receiver to the near side, one to the far side in the blue and white turn, and he'll ride Howard again, and this time he'll keep it and make his way across the 30 to the 31-yard line. A pickup of about 10 1/4 inch, and it's a Las Vegas Jewelers first down for Samari Howard. Boy, he rode him to the last minute that time, Art.
He did, and what set that up is this little switch that we've seen happen with Arizmendi, where now he's getting his confidence about running, and that set that up with for Samari.
1st and 10 for the Cats, and it's a Wildcat formation with Pilot in the backfield. He's going to take it himself, and he dives outside the 35-yard line. A pickup of about 4 on the carry from Pilot. That time in at quarterback, Hugh, there's a wrinkle.
Yeah, it is, and they're just trying to get this tempo going. They're trying to get Waxahachie on their heels, and that's what they did on that play. And just a nice little, like you said, a Wildcat formation.
2nd down and 6 for the Cats. Split receiver to the far side, one to the near side, turn and hand to Howard. He kind of tippy-toes right up the middle. He'll pick up a couple, but trying to get through Bex, Robinson, and Luna, not an easy task. That's a big 3 guys up front for the Indians. You'll get a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 4 coming up for the Cats.
Well, and you know, when you see Pilot take one snap like that at quarterback, they're setting up a future play.
2 receivers to the near side, and Arizmendi in shotgun with Samari Howard to his right. 6:34 and counting in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter. Cats lead at 15-0. They'll flip the formation to the near side of the field. And Arizmendi will take it. This time he's going to keep it himself. No, yes, he does have it himself, and he'll pick up positive yardage. No, he did hand off, didn't he?
Yeah, yes. Howard has
Excuse me, I thought the way he looked back that he had the football still, but Howard does go on the right side and picks up a little bit. As Arizmendi was kind of a lead blocker there. That's why I thought he had the football, but he was out looking for a block.
How about your quarterback being your leading blocker? I mean, that's a new wrinkle, isn't it?
Yes, it is. 1st and 10. Las Vegas Jewelers brings you the first down. Split receiver to the right, one to the left. Shotgun. Again, he'll hand it to the back in the backfield, and I believe
25.
That is Robinson into the ball game now.
Samari's Howard's helmet popped off.
Yes.
So he came out of the game. And then Colby Rice, offensive lineman, he came out of the game for a quick minute to see if think he's okay.
Q on the sidelines, brought to you by Texas Tour Gear. Split receiver to the right, one to the left. That's Pilot all alone on the left side, and he's going to throw it to the near side, A.J. McDuffie. And A.J. will make the catch and just step out of bounds at about the 48-yard line, maybe 47, depending on the spot. I think they're going to give it, well, the side judge says 47, but the ball spotter's trying to put it to 48. Now he moves it back to the 47. It'll be 3rd down and 4 coming up for the Wildcats. McDuffie split to the right, Pilot to the left. Shotgun formation, snap back to Arizmendi. He's looking for the tight end, and he has it complete down to the 40, and here comes flags flying. That's going to be a hold against the Wildcats, but complete on the far side that time for the Wildcats, and Dylan Hinkle with the catch, just running the little flat route from the tight end position.
Is it, Ward? That may still be a first down, right? If the penalty.
It depends on where they're going to mark that off, because it is a spot
offensive
foul.
Pass interference.
And unfortunately,
10-yard.
I don't
offensive
think.
pass interference.
Well, then that
Doesn't
negates
matter.
everything.
Yep.
So that is going to be 15 yards from the line of scrimmage, and so they'll move them back, and that'll put them behind the sticks. for a 3rd down and long for the Wildcats with 5:33 remaining in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter. 15-0 Cats with the lead in this by-district championship here at Wildcat Stadium. It'll be 3rd down and I think about 20 if they spot it at the 32, 31-yard line. Is that right, Q?
Yeah, yep, 32.
All right.
Well, 24 Hodge is Waxahachie's best cornerback, and they have him assigned to A.J. McDuffie on every play so far. So
now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Oh. I was trying to figure out what's going on here because Coach Stewart just walked outside the numbers. He wants to talk to somebody about something in a very urgent way, I believe.
Yeah, he was calling for a.
Is he talking about the spot, or is he wanting to know who the interference was on?
Offensive pass interference, 15 yards from the previous spot, replay 3rd down.
All right, offensive pass interference. I don't know what the explanation he wanted at the time, but I'm not real sure he got it either. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. They'll put Howard in motion to the wide side of the field. Snap back to Arizmende. Arizmende's going to step up. He's got lots of room in front of him. Gets to the 45, to midfield, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, inside the 35, down to the 32-yard line. The quarterback saw something, and he took it right up the middle for a Las Topeka Jewelers first down. A big gain that time of Arizmende, 37 yards.
And that's what you look for from your senior cornerback in a round 1 playoff game like that, is making those kind of decisions. That's huge for the Wildcats.
Arizmende in shotgun. He'll turn, and now whistle flies, and there's going to be illegal procedure against the Cats. Laundry on the field brought to you by Johnny's Cleaners.
Well, I know Arizmende. He's saying, hey, 1st and 15's
False
nothing.
start. Number 7.
They were trying to go too quickly, and Coach Sadler had told them to slow down, but they were trying to go too quickly, get Waxahachie on their heels, and they had them, but they just didn't get set, and so get a procedure penalty. The good news, Colby Rice, he got his brace taken care of, and he's back into the game.
Thank you. Injury update brought to you by Baylor Scott and White, Roney Bone and Joint Institute. Q on the sidelines brought to you by Texas Tour Gear. Here come the Cats on 1st and 15. Split receiver to the right, 1 to the left. Shotgun for Arizmende. This time he gives it to Howard. Howard in all kinds of trouble, and he's going to lose yardage. On a blitz that time was Quincy Johnson, the senior safety, and he catches up with Howard, and they lose more yardage all the way back outside the 40-yard line, almost to the 41.
Well, you hit on it, Ward. Waxahachie had a blitz called on that, and it was just a good play call by the defensive coordinator of Waxahachie. There really wasn't anything for the Wildcats to do. They just called the right defense on the right play.
2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left on 2nd down and long for the Cats. And Arizmende steps up in the pocket, throws a little flat route to Howard, and he is met immediately as he catches it at the 40-yard line, and stepping up and making the play, Preston Hodge, the senior cornerback for the Indians. It'll be 3rd down and about maybe 16 to go for the Wildcats. Yeah, they go left to right.
That Preston Hodge that you just mentioned made that tackle. The matchup against A.J. McDuffie was another one that really key one to watch tonight. 2 seniors, both good, very good, well-coached, disciplined in their positions.
3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Step back and looking downfield on the left side. Has a receiver open, and he falls back to make the catch, and that is a catch at the 27-yard line. And coming up with the football that time was Taylor, I believe.
Yes.
And it will be now 4th down and about, it looks like 6 to go, and you send out Aaron Wagaman for the 3?
Yep.
There he goes. Good call, Q.
Well, he was already on the field, so that was an easy one. He's got the club in the bag, so why not? If you can do it, if you can knock it in there. It's a long, lengthy kick, but he's got the club in the bag.
A 44-yard field goal attempt by Wagaman off the left hash for the Cats. And Samari Howard on the hold. Snap back, hold down, kick is up. It is good. Your new score from Wildcat Stadium, Temple 18 and Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football continues right after this on Fox Sports Central Texas.
Heating and air conditioning. We all expect it to work. When it doesn't, don't call any heating and AC company. Call Temple Heat and Air, your full-service AC and heating company. 254-771-1012. Locally owned and operated since 2001, you'll see the difference in their personalized, safe, and friendly service. As an American Standard and Lennox dealer, you'll get the right parts and service for the right system. Get same-day service and no surprises, plus great financing and discounts. When your system isn't working, call Temple Heat and Air, 254-771-1012.
Football here on Fox Sports Central Texas. Stephen Simcox producing back in the Fox Sports studios. Warren Whites, Art Coley, Allie Roark in the booth, and your boy Q on the sidelines as Wagaman gets ready for the Sports World kickoff as he puts toe into leather and sends this one to the right side, and it'll dribble into the end zone for a touchback, and the Indians will take over 1st and 10 at the 25. Let's get your McGuire Tire scoring summary with Stephen Simcox.
Thanks, Ward. It was a 10-play, 67-yard drive. Wagaman with a 44-yard field goal. And the most impressive thing about that drive, it took 7 minutes and 32 seconds.
And that's something that Coach Stewart wanted to try to do in this ball game, is eat up some of that clock in long sustained drives, and there was one of them right there.
Yeah, well, Coach Alexander for Waxahachie has a real problem, and Coach Stewart knows it. He does not have a high-scoring, fast-scoring team, and that field goal put them 3 scores down. So they've got some work to do to get out of this hole.
Here come the Indians on 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. They'll have a diamond formation of 3 receivers to the near side, and it's quarterback keeper around the right side all the way for Hawkins. And Hawkins is hit just as he gets across the 25, maybe give him to the 27 that time. And a good string out that time by the Wildcats. And coming up and making the play that time was Keon Williams.
Well, with the Wildcats having 3 timeouts left, 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, you know, Coach Stewart has to be thinking about another score.
3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. They go right to left in the white trimmed in green. Hawkins in shotgun. This time he'll fake it to Cherry, keep it and try to get to the right side. Spins out of a tackle right at the line of scrimmage, but he's knocked off balance just enough before he falls down. And I don't know what that late flag from the side judge is. Are they going to try to call spearing there?
I don't know if they're going to call spearing or tripping or what it is, but it doesn't.
That was an odd-looking flag as it came flying out right where the tackle was made on Hawkins. And
there's no flag on the play.
Making a play, Jaden Jackson that time.
Off.
Thank you very much. I think he anticipated the way Jackson was falling down that he was going to get him with the top of his helmet, but he didn't get anything but turf with the top of his helmet. So it's a good wave off by the officials.
I believe this official crew is out of College Station.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it'll be 3rd down and 5. Go ahead, Q.
No, they've been pretty they've been giving their explanations pretty well tonight. Like they'll give you a couple of seconds to state your case.
3rd down and 5 for the Indians. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Now they'll put Cherry in motion out to the right. And here comes the blitz for the Wildcats. And they're going to hit him in the backfield and drop him. Now you call the timeout for Coach Stewart as it'll be 4th down and
Temple.
long. And he calls the timeout immediately with 1:22 to go here in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter. Cats lead at 18-0, and there you go. Coach Stewart using one of those timeouts to get the ball back to the offense with a little bit of time to manage with.
Yeah, and you can see it if you watch the replay. Hawkins immediately, he went back, didn't look too bad. He's in steps, he's coming back, and they've got a nice pocket formed. But when he went to his first read and that read was covered, where did his mind go?
Run.
Start to run, and there were the Wildcats with perfectly contained, well-disciplined, locking him down to where there really was no place for him to go. And, yeah, then you get the timeout. Now you got a shot at another score if you're the Wildcats.
You know, it still kind of blows my mind that they're not feeding Cherry more when he's a big downhill runner.
Yeah, he's the guy that came into the ball game with 165 carries, 877 yards, and 6 touchdowns, and he hasn't touched the ball that much tonight, Hughes.
No, it really hasn't. It's blowing my mind. I mean, you have weapons like this, and Art mentioned you don't have a high-octane offense. Use all your weapons that you do have. You have the quarterback and you have Cherry. Use them both.
Well, some of the Wildcat
Please
fans
reset the game clock. 1 minute and 22 seconds.
And their big running back, and that's what exactly they did, Q. That they really weren't a passing team, but they had that running back, and they just pounded and pounded and pounded. Even if it meant 3 and out, that's what they stuck with.
Right.
Please reset the game clock.
Cats with the lead, 1:18 to go in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter, and the Indians in a punt formation right now.
Tell you what,
they may give this ball back to the Wildcats, and Mielek, back to do the punting. Go ahead, Q.
they're trying to get this clock reset to like 122. Yeah, there it is.
And that was Coach Stewart out there saying, wait a minute,
yeah.
I got a couple of extra seconds I get here,
I'll
right?
tell you what, be careful with Taylor back there to receive this punt. He could really do some damage if he catches it on the run.
Mielek will stand at his 15. Taylor for the Cats stands at the 35-yard line. Good snap, and an end-over-end kick is going to land at the 40 and take a left turn, and that will get the clock stopped at 1:15. A punt that time of 35 yards and no return, and that's where the Cats will take over 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line.
all the little things that we've talked about throughout the season, and sometimes we've made references even to saying, the reason that's important is because you want to get prepared for a situation in the playoffs where that has to happen. And here you are with 1:15 seconds to go into half, and getting another score could literally be the final nail in the coffin against Waxahachie. This is huge for the Cats to get a good drive and score here.
They'll come out with 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Snap back to Arizmendi, looking down the right side. Now he's going to be flushed out of the pocket, and he'll lean forward and get outside the 40 to the 41-yard line. Got a little help from his offensive lineman, Matthew Fry, to kind of throw him about 4 of those yards. It'll be 2nd down and 5 coming up for the Cats. 1 minute and counting here in the second quarter. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Swing pass to Howard. Howard is read very well that time by the linebacker, Jamarcus Head, the freshman. Had that one read, and he'll drop him for a yard loss, and it'll be 3rd down and 6 coming up for the Wildcats, and the Cats will take their final timeout with 50 seconds remaining in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter.
Well, one thing for Waxahachie, their cornerbacks and this Waxahachie team does have some speed. I don't know that I would put it up there with the Killeen ISD kind of speed out on the outside, but they do have some speed there. And but you just got to wonder, we really have basically maybe seen one deep ball. 1 or 2.
Yeah,
on the
2
side.
really.
Yeah. And but it just seems like you can feel that getting set up here for an A.J. McDuffie or maybe a Luke Allen out there on the outside.
You hit it on the head right there. Number 12, Luke Allen is where this ball is going to go if they do take a shot. I'm feeling they've been setting it up because they've been coming to the near side the whole time. And Luke Allen's been on the far side kind of on an island. And I think they're trying to woo the defensive back to sleep. And then you see them try to take a shot. And he's been Johnny on the spot all year long.
Well, that would make sense, Q, because the cornerback covering Luke over there is the cornerback that you want to pick on.
It'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Cats with 51 seconds remaining here in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter. 18-0 Cats with the lead. 3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. They go left to right. Arizmendi takes the snap, drops back 3 steps, looking downfield, has a receiver wide open. Luke Allen at the 40-yard line, and he fumbles the ball, and now they're going to call that incomplete.
Yep.
While Luke had it for just a second, and when he came down with it, it popped out, and it'll be 4th down and 6, and the Cats are going to punt this ball back to the Indians.
He just got drilled. It was just a good play by the defensive back for the Waxahachie Indians. They just come up and laid a hit on him, and that's what made the ball come loose.
Well, Luke he ran a great route,
yep.
And Arizmendi read it perfectly to hit him when he was coming out of coverage and falling in that hole in the zone. But gosh, boy, that's one Luke Allen wishes he could get back.
So Wagaman will come in to punt this ball back to the Indians, and they're playing pretty much kick safe on this right now as Wagaman will put his foot into it, rugby-style kick, and it'll land and go inside the 20, down inside the 15, and die at about the 14-yard line. A 47-yard punt from Aaron Wagaman, and that's where Waxahachie will take over 1st and 10 with 34 seconds remaining in the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter. Once again, Cats lead at 18-0.
So you got a 44-yard field goal and you got a 46-yard punt.
Not bad afternoon.
Yeah, Wagaman's all right.
Not a bad afternoon at the office for one Aaron Wagaman. So the Indians will come out. Let's see if they get in a hurry here or if they're going to try to go into the locker room and regroup. They'll have 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. And Cherry will stand to his left. They'll turn and give it to Cherry. Weaves his way right up the middle to about the 15-yard line and pick up about a yard. And it'll be 2nd down and 9. Torrey's on the stop for the Wildcats.
Nothing real fancy there by Waxahachie.
We have an injury timeout.
I'd say from signaling that play, just that they may just be running it if something springs. But otherwise, they may just be not pleased, but a little bit grateful at this point that the Wildcats didn't connect on that last, being down 18-0 at halftime. Maybe they were about to not have that situation.
A stoppage in play here at Wildcat Stadium as one of the Indians is down at the 15-yard line, and the training staff checking him out right now, and both teams kind of taking advantage of that and talking with their coaching staffs on both sides of the field. Don't have a number on the young man
74.
at the moment. Thank you very much. That is the center, Fabian Baltrip, and your center is a guy on that offensive line. He's the one you don't want to go down.
Hey, Ward, I was just going to tell you that we were talking about Aaron Wagaman and the weapon that he is. Unofficially, we have him at 290 career points.
Wow.
As of right now.
Due to the
That's not
injury,
bad.
under
That
a minute
is
on the
very,
clock.
Very good.
By rule,
And he will
10-second
walk
runoff.
off to the sidelines with a little bit of help from the training staff. Hopefully
Start the
that
clock
man is
on my
okay.
whistle.
It'll be
Say it again. Say it again. You broke up.
first and
Set the
10.
clock to 11
Excuse
seconds.
me, second down and 9 coming up for the Indians.
That's a 10-second runoff here, so it's going to go to 11
Yeah.
seconds.
Thank you very much. So they'll reset that clock.
Please set the clock to 11 seconds.
As the officials wait
Soon
for
as
the clock operator to get it set. Now it is at 11 seconds. Good call, Q.
Watch the trick play.
And the Indians will let the clock just run out and not even snap the ball.
Halftime.
And that will do it for the Ponder Auto and Fleet Service second quarter. Your score, Temple 18 and Waxahachie nothing. Q will catch up with Coach Stewart heading into the locker room, brought to you by Temple Education Foundation, and see what Coach Stewart thinks about this first half of play for the Wildcats. And Q, take it away.
Coach, 18-0 halftime. The offense hasn't really got going that much, but the defense has really been clicking.
Well, I mean, they're playing hard. I mean, we're giving up chunk yardage and we're getting stingy in the red zone, but we've got to fix some of the stuff that's happening out here in the middle of the field. I mean, you know, they're 1 and 8 are both unbelievable athletes, but if we'll execute and we'll tackle better, I mean, I'm okay if we miss a tackle if we're doing what we're taught to do.
Right.
There's several tackles out here where we're trying to go high and we're trying to do things we're not coached to do, and they're two good athletes to do that. So, you know, I'm proud that we're stingy in the red zone. And again, on offense, we got to get in some kind of rhythm. I mean, you know, we chunked some yards here, made a big play here and there. You know, we scored 7 points in the first half on offense, and that ain't usually our style. That's a tribute to them too. I mean, they're damn good on defense.
No doubt. You got to be pretty pleased with Carlton Mack. He saved the touchdown, big effort play, and then you guys were able to get the ball back.
You got to play hard, man. He's doing a good job, and we got to go in there and focus and just kind of get in the rhythm.
Appreciate you, Coach. Back to you, Ward.
Thank you, Q. Coach Stewart in the locker room, brought to you by Temple Education Foundation. Stay tuned. The Morrison Pursley Financial Plan halftime show is next. Your score at halftime, Temple 18, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football presented by Baylor Scott and White Rony Bone and Joint Institute. We'll return right after this. the Temple Wildcats so far. And, you heard Coach Stewart, Q, going into the locker room. That's one of the things that he wants to accomplish coming out of the locker room is kind of get that offense's motor going in a little bit.
Absolutely. They need to get into a rhythm. I mean, when they have a big play, all of a sudden it'll be like a penalty. And those penalties are drive killers, man, and especially when you have the 10-yard garden variety or a 15-yarder like you've seen them have multiple times throughout the night. And so those are what really have been shooting them in the foot. But luckily for them, their defense has been playing really good ball tonight.
All right, when you go into the locker room, you talk about offenses trying to get just that little jump start. How does that conversation go in the quarterback room?
Yeah, I think that I think a lot of that is really just climbing in and taking a look at what Arizmendi has done in the first half and starting with the fact of what's working for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's making some good decisions. He's made some really good decisions between leaving the ball and keeping the ball. He's thrown the ball well. I mean, he's had we aren't seeing bad passes. He's reading right. He's even taken sacks at the right time. So I don't know, Ward, if it's so much about big adjustments being made or but the word rhythm that you just used and also Coach Stewart was talking about of trying to get that rhythm going along, I think what that is just trying to calm everybody down and saying, hey, let's stick to our offensive plan. And sometimes if you try to find that rhythm too much, you actually get less of it. And you just let it come to you a little bit. And that's kind of what I think you see with the offense going on. I mean, look, it's not like it's been a disaster. But they just haven't. I think that it was the right word. They just haven't found that rhythm. But I think overall, to me, what we're seeing in this game is also we are seeing a little bit of a 9-1 team versus 5-4. When we before the game started, we said we weren't for sure what that means. I mean, exactly that 5-4. But I think that's starting to reveal itself a little bit more after this first half. Still a second half. A lot of things can happen in this game. It's not over. But definitely Temple is showing up as the better team in this first half.
Well, and let's talk about the defense now, Q. And this defense right now has had a couple of goal line stands so far in this game. A little bit surprising to you because of number 8 in the backfield with Cherry. Not utilizing him in the red zone as much as we thought that they may do tonight. But this Temple defense has really been able to kind of put their will on that offense and take them out of their game.
Yeah, they really have, and that's something that was my key to the game, just the defense. They got to be able to take Waxahachie out of their offense and get them uncomfortable, and they clearly have. And to the point where we're even questioning some of their play calls offensively. But I just think that this defense, and they've done this all year long, so it's not like we should be surprised. This defensive line, these linebackers, they pursue. They're quick, and outside of one or two plays that they lost containment, they've been playing really, really good ball. And that goal line stance was huge. Getting that interception from Graves and taking it to the house, that was huge. Carlton Mack, I mentioned him to Coach Stewart. Him chasing down Cherry. I mean, again, a lot of people won't even think about that play later on, but that was just straight effort. And he could have said, oh, well, there's a touchdown. We'll just give it up and we'll try to get back offensively. Instead, he chased him down, got him to the ground, and they did not score, obviously, because they didn't put up no points. But they gave themselves a chance defensively. Those plays to me mean more than a sack or 2 sacks or whatever. Those hustle plays is what really matters.
It's not going to make the paper tomorrow, but it was the root cause that led to the opportunity to keep a 0 on the board.
Yep.
Well, and this defense has been able to do that all season long, but, I mean, to be able to have your back against the wall and even step up after the offense kind of got things. They were in that rhythm in the first of the game and had the big play. Quarterback fumbles the football, gets it knocked out of his hands more than anything else, trying to get some extra yardage. And then you see the defense take one out of the sky into the house to get in the lead, and that momentum has never left the blue and white sidelines yet.
We've been beating that drum all season, and that drum and that message is when you've got a defense, a lot of things can happen. I mean, when you're going into your playoff season with a strong defense and that being a core part of your whole existence of a team, that's huge. I mean, it buys you a lot. It gives you a lot wider margin of error. You can make a lot more mistakes offensively. You can miss opportunities because your defense can keep you in it. And I think the story of this half is what does Waxahachie and their offensive coordinator do coming out the second half? I mean, think about they've got to figure out something.
They got to figure it out quick
to be and very quickly to be able to get in this game because they're not fast scoring. And I mean, would they get 3 or 4 drives the whole first half because they take long drives? So they've got to hold the Wildcats and get 3 scores. And that's a tall task for that offensive coordinator and Coach Alexander over there for the Indians.
I'll tell you right now, you asked what that defense does for you. That defense allows you to be you.
Yeah,
that
you're right.
defense
That's a
allows
great
you
point.
not to get outside of yourself and say, oh, we got to do something. We got, like Waxahachie's going to have to do, they're going to have to put the ball in the air. They're going to have to get out of who they are. The defense for the Temple Wildcats allows them to stick with their offense, and even if they're, like you said, you can eat a sack, you could take a sack, and you could just punt, and that's a good play when you have defense like that.
That's a great point.
Yeah, punting is always not a bad play, right?
Exactly
I mean,
right.
sometimes, especially when you got a weapon like Wagaman back there that can flip the field for you and give your defense an opportunity to get another stop and maybe get that field position that you're looking for.
And it's another one of those things it's easy just to kind of gloss over and forget, but how big was that field goal?
Sure.
I mean, it may end up not being an issue if the second half goes like the first half goes, but you're going to catch a playoff game where it does make a difference in the final outcome. So that was a big point. Just you mentioning Wagaman made me think of that, Ward.
Morrison Pursley Financial Plan brings you the halftime show. Your halftime score: Temple on top here in the Bi-District Championship at Wildcat Stadium, 18-0 over Waxahachie. Wildcat football is presented by Baylor Scott and White, Runnybone and Joint Institute. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll send it back to Stephen Simcox back at the Marco Pizza Sports Desk. He'll have highlights and how this one unfolded, plus some scores from around other playoff games around the area, as well as Wildcat football continues right after this on Fox Sports Central Texas.
For over 20.
Ladies and gentlemen, and we congratulate the Waxahachie Band on their fantastic performance this evening. We also wish you well at State Marching Band Contest this Tuesday. Now taking the field are the award-winning Temple High School Kittens Dance Team. The Kittens are under the direction of Director Leslie Powell and Assistant Director Kelsey Bjornley. The social officers are Secretary Aaron Bombach, Historian Sarah Sikander, Vice President Avery Sears, and President Diana DeCure. The dance officers are Lieutenant Kylie Naranjo, Lieutenant Ariana Skinner, Lieutenant Tori Harris, Lieutenant Abby Cook, and Captain Casey Marshall. The Spirit Girl of the Week is Lieutenant Kylie Naranjo. The Kitten of the Week is Social Officer President Diana DeCure. The Kittens will now entertain you with an exciting field production routine to We Are Family. Temple Independent School District is proud to present the Temple High School Wildcat Band. The band is under the field direction of drum majors Ellie Abel, Patience Johnson, and Amber Morris. Ladies and gentlemen, the award-winning Wildcat Band and their official sponsor, In-House Systems, are pleased to present their Playoff Christmas production. We will start by featuring our award-winning color guard under the direction of Lacey Garcia. They will be performing a routine to Christmas on the Town. Let's keep the good times rockin' with the Christmas classic, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. The band makes the traditional block tee. We would like to recognize the senior class of 2021. They are the students on the field with the white hats, and they have been our rock for the last 4 years. Please help us celebrate this class of 2021 with the crowd favorite, Suburbia. Restful weekend. Good night, and go Wildcats!
Minute and a half.
built-in thing. We'll get cues here momentarily as he makes his way back down to the field on the sidelines. Brought to you by Texas Tour Gear. Second half kickoff brought to you by Sports World, where the Cats lead 18-0. Wagaman tees it up. Cats will be kicking right to left, and Waxahachie in the all-white uniform.
We will take just a second
jersey,
for the fog to clear.
Running back the green helmet with the silver logo on both sides. And the Wildcats in the blue jersey tonight, white numerals, blue helmet, white face mask, the white tee. And the Cats kickoff team trying to pump up the Wildcat faithful here on the near side of the field as they, of course, wear the iconic blue front, white back pants here at Wildcat Stadium. 18-0 your score as the halftime comes to an end. Third quarter brought to you by First United Bank and Trust. As Wagaman will tee it up. A little bit of a pause as they try to get all the run-throughs back off the playing surface. And Coach Stewart's
yeah, go ahead.
standing out there eyeballing something in that end zone. He's not quite sure if he likes what he sees. I don't know.
Let's play football.
He's ready to get going, I think, is what his problem is.
Well, yeah, I tell you, the Wildcats, you're seeing them come out, a little bit of attitude here in spirit. It seems like that intensity and the way they've been playing might even been cranked up a couple notches here, but we're about to see.
Sports World brings you the kickoff as Aaron Wagaman will send it right to left here at Wildcat Stadium to the east end zone. And he'll put his foot into it. And it is a short kick, a fair catch caught at the 32-yard line on the near side by the Indians. Tried high outside kick just to make sure they're paying attention. Joseph Langford with the fair catch, and that's where the Indians will take over. And if nothing else, I think that shows the confidence that Coach Stewart has in his defense.
Well, I like that halftime comment Q had to say about the fact that, your defense just lets you be you. It also even just it opens up so many different options for what you can do when you got that bedrock of a defense to back you up.
Here come the Indians on their first possession of the second half, trailing 18-0. Split receiver to the near side, three tight receivers to the far side, and it's a quarterback keep all the way with Hawkins trying to get around the left corner, and he is hit at the line of scrimmage and pushed out of bounds. Coming up and making the play, Otarian Peoples for the Wildcats. It'll be second down and 10 for the Indians.
And that was a quarterback sweep, 100%, just taking it around the end, and the Wildcat defense just played that beautifully. I mean, that's textbook, isn't it, Ward, of how they strung the offensive line out all the way, used the sidelines as that 12th defender.
Three receivers to the near side, one to the far side. Cherry in the backfield with Hawkins on second down and 11. And Hawkins will take it, fake it to Cherry, and he's hitting the backfield and wrapped up in a blitz that time by Eric Shorter. Drops him for another 2-yard loss. It'll be 3rd and 13 coming up for the Indians.
Yeah, I was over and talking to Coach McQueen at halftime, and I said, Coach, what would you do if you're the Waxahachie offensive coordinator? And he said, you got to go with Hawkins and Cherry. He said, I mean, that's what got you here, and you've got to do win or lose. That's what you've got to play.
3rd down and 13 for the Indians. Ball sits on the left hash. Two receivers to the near side, one to the far side. Hawkins and Cherry in the backfield in a shotgun formation. Snap back to Hawkins. 3-step drop. Now he'll go down the far sideline. Has a receiver there, and it's incomplete. And a flag flies. They're going to get Keon Williams on the far side. I don't know if they throw the flag, if he turns around and looks for the football. That one hit short of Williams, and that's a tough call there.
Well, look, I mean, first of all, high school football, you don't have to turn.
Right.
That's not.
They're going to talk about that. They're going to pick that up, man. That was good coverage. He just didn't turn and look.
So now the officials meet at about the 45-yard line. Let's see what the call is from the official.
Defensive pass interference, number 4. He cut the receiver off in his route.
Laundry on the field.
15-yard penalty.
Brought to you by Johnny's Cleaners. What was that full explanation there, Q?
He just said defensive pass interference. I didn't hear anything else above all the boos.
All right. Thank you very much.
All
so
the
on
boos from Wildcat Stadium.
3rd and 13, the pass interference will be an automatic first down for the Indians. And it'll put them just at the 42-yard line.
Well, and there's rules about replays and what you can show, so they're not putting the replay up on the big screen. I guess what the ref may have seen were was just the fact that maybe he wasn't allowing him to get back to the ball to make a catch, but it sure looked like a good coverage to me.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians. Ball sits at the 43-yard line. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Snap back to Hawkins. This time he'll give it to Cherry. Cherry's hit in the backfield and dropped for another loss. And slicing in quickly is York, the sophomore linebacker, and he'll drop him for another 3 or 4 yard loss. Make it a 5-yard loss. 2nd down and 15 coming up for the Indians.
I really love the pursuit, man. I said it at halftime. I love the pursuit of this defensive line, man. Shorter, York, Grays on the linebacker position. All these guys, man, young cats, and on top of that, they get after it. They are not worried about that big body named Cherry in the backfield.
Cue on the sidelines brought to you by Texas Tour Gear. 2nd down and 15 for the Indians. They'll send 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Cherry in the backfield with Hawkins in a shotgun formation. Turn, and they'll run the option. This time he's going to be hit in the backfield again, and the Cats defense is swarming all over him, and it's Eric Shorter there first, and a bunch of blue jerseys help him out for another loss. It'll be 3rd down and 16 coming up for the Indians.
And that's just a play where Hawkins takes the snap from the shotgun and just immediately tacks the defensive end. And he had his pitch men out to the left. It looked like he could have made the pitch, but he decided to hold it and make a turn up, which ended up not being the right move for him.
3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. 3rd and 16 for the Indians. Hawkins in a shotgun. He'll take the snap. 3-step drop, looking to set up the screen, and it's a tunnel screen on the inside, complete, and he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage, and he's knocked down there by the Wildcats. And coming across and making the stop that time was Peoples, and just a little delayed screen to Jaden Basham, the slot receiver, all the way across the field. Not much there, only picked up 5, and it'll be 4th down and 11.
And those are the kind of plays you have to look for when they're struggling offensively. And it's 3rd and long like that, screens, those bubble screens. All those are the ones that you most likely are going to see. And so Temple was very disciplined, having a good idea, anticipating what was coming.
Well, Basham, the receiver for Waxahachie, also got just lit up by Peoples and Jaden Jackson. Both of those safeties put big-time defensive hits on that receiver.
So now a little substituting for the Temple Wildcats on the punting unit. And Taylor will stand at about his 20-yard line to try to return this punt from the Indians, as it's a low end-over-end kick that's going to land out of bounds outside the 30, I think, and it will be at the 32-yard line that time by the Indians. A 24-yard punt coming across that time by Mielek, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Wildcats with the ball on the right hash, leading 18-0 with 8:30 to go in the First United Bank and Trust 3rd quarter.
And Ward, I know I never gave my keys to the game in the
please.
second half. I think it's establish the run. Establish the run. Give me a healthy dose of Samari Howard. Get that offensive line blocking downhill.
Thank you, Q. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Cats go right to left, and Howard gets the run, and he bounces it outside on the near side, looking to get across the 40. Does, steps out of a tackle, drags a white jersey all the way down to the 45-yard line. Finally bringing him down after he took a ride of about 12 yards was Gardner, the linebacker, but not before Samari Howard moves the chains on a 24-yard scamper, and it's a Las Vegas Jewelers 1st down. Snap back, and Howard gets it again, trying to go the right side, cuts it up inside a crease, gets inside the 40, down to the 36-yard line. It'll be a pickup of 8 that time by Howard, and it'll be 2nd down and 2 coming up for the Wildcats. Back to the line of scrimmage, and they'll send a split receiver to the near side and 1 to the far side. Make it 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side as they go right to left. Shotgun formation. Here's Mende. This time he gives it to Howard right up the middle. He follows that big offensive line and moves the chains again to the 32-yard line. A pickup of 4, and it's another Las Vegas Jewelers 1st down for the Cats.
I think that's Jalen Robinson in for Howard.
Thank you very much. Split receiver to the far side, 2 to the near side. This time he'll fake it to Robinson, looking downfield, and now he's going to be sacked and thrown down on a loss of about 3, as just couldn't quite get the ball out of his hands. That was a coverage sack there, Q.
Yeah, it was, and you just got to anticipate. You just got to get that thing out of his hand quicker. Just got to make that play. He didn't have time to get it out, but when he does, he has some plays he makes. 2nd down and 12 for the Cats. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Snap back, and this time he'll give it to Robinson right at the middle. Big hole. Inside the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Wildcats!
from 33 yards out. Robinson takes it to the house, and the Cats extend the lead over the Waxahachie Indians on the Smile at the World Orthodontics Dr. Josh Knowles touchdown, 24-0 with your PHE up and coming.
Well, I can say they gave a healthy dose of the run game. That's what we were looking for. That's what I was looking for in the second half in particular, getting in that rhythm that Coach Stewart was talking about. And you see the run game worked, the offensive line was clicking, and they're back in the end zone.
Clem McKeskus brings you the PAT as a swinging gate goes to the traditional PAT. Howard on the hold for Wagaman. Snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is good. Your new score from Wildcat Stadium with 7:02 to go in the First United Bank and Trust third quarter. Temple 35, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football continues in 1 minute on Fox Sports Central Texas. Wildcat football here on Fox Sports Central Texas. Ward White's Art Coley, Alan Warwick in the booth. Your boy Q on the sideline. Stephen Simcox producing. Baylor Scott and White, Roney Bone and Joint presents Wildcat football, and it's a high short kick again. Fair caught again at the 32-yard line by Langford. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians. Let's get that scoring summary. Brought to you by McGuire Tires. Here's Stephen Simcox.
It took the Wildcats 6 plays to cover 67 yards. Robinson on a 33-yard touchdown run. And it took 1 minute and 28 seconds off the clock.
Thank you, Stephen. McGuire Tires brings you the scoring summary. 25-0. 7:02 to go in the First United Bank and Trust third quarter. Cats with the lead, trying to add another gold ball to the trophy case in this bi-district championship.
Well, just to describe again how big the hole is that Waxahachie is trying to dig out of here is that they average about 18 points a game. So they're now having to score more points, in a quarter and a half than they typically do in an entire game.
Pistol formation for the Indians, and he'll fake the handoff to Cherry. Now looking to go deep, has a receiver clearing, but it is underthrown. Trying to get it to his wideout that time. That was Wofford, and incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Indians.
I'll tell you what, as a defensive back, these are the kind of games you like when you know that a team is out of their element and they're going to have to go to the air. You just feel like this is one of those days. We like to call them contract days, you know what I mean?
That's right. Yes,
that's what you call it, a contract day.
It'll be 2nd down and 10. Ball rest on the right hash at the 32-yard line for the Indians. They break the huddle and send a receiver to the right, one to the left. Now 2 backs in the backfield with Hawkins in a shotgun formation. Snap back, and he'll give to Cherry with the lead blocker trying to get the left side, and he'll be tracked down after he gains about 3 on the carry. Coming up, Keon Williams making the stop for the Wildcats, and it'll be 3rd down and 8 coming up for the Indians. And boy, there is some fog blowing in here at Wildcat Stadium all of a sudden.
Yeah, they want us to film a music video as soon as the game's over. Yeah.
Wow, it just dropped on top of the stadium quickly.
Yeah, it did.
And it is getting lower and more foggy here at Wildcat Stadium with 3rd down and 8 coming up. 3 receivers to the near side. They go left to right. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. He'll put Cherry in motion, and now illegal procedure against the Indians as he took a step forward and then went in motion and can't really do that.
Ball start.
And
Number
so
10.
instead of 3rd down and 8,
5-yard penalty.
they'll move it back behind the chains again.
I'll tell you what, not only did the fog come in, but it got cold real quick.
Oh, did it really?
Oh, man, this thing is all of a sudden, it just turned like everyone's looking around right now, putting their jackets on. It all of a sudden became almost ice out here.
Wow. I mean, it just came out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Yeah.
3 receivers to the near side, shotgun formation. Now they'll put Cherry in motion again on 3rd and 13, and they're trying to get it to Cherry, and he was way short with that pass. I think he was being forced out, and
he couldn't step into it when he threw that.
Yeah, is that Torres? I'm being honest.
It was Gray's.
Okay, I cannot see numbers now because of the fog.
And that play, that 100% is coming out of the halftime adjustment, because if you noticed, Gray's broke down and stopped to where really Hawkins had to throw the ball. And the first half, the Wildcat defense was coming in kamikaze on that kind of stuff, and then just a little sidestep by Hawkins, and he can break it out and scramble.
So Mielek will punt this one back, and I'm sure Taylor's having a hard time finding that football if it's in the air at all. And it will roll out of bounds inside the 30 at the 29-yard line on that punt of 41 yards. And that's where the Cats will take over 1st and 10, leading 25-0 with 5:48 to go in the First United Bank and Trust third quarter. And folks, it is very foggy. You cannot see the far sideline bleachers from the press box right now.
You can't see it from the field.
Wow.
I'm on the field and I can barely see it.
It's like, isn't this what happens when a werewolf comes out?
Hey, man, look, man. Why you gonna put that on me, man? Don't do that, man. You know the black guy dies in the movie, in the scary movie first. Don't put that on me, man.
Hey, good luck out there, Q.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats as they're trying to get the offense set. Wasn't there an NFL game not too long ago that had a big fog roll in right in the middle of the game? And
Fog bowl.
There you go. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Cats go right to left, 1 back in the backfield with Arizmendi, I think.
Well, it's a good thing we've got the lower fog lights on the.
Snap back to Arizmendi, and they'll run the screen to the outside, complete. And down the sidelines goes Taylor, and he'll pick up good yardage of about, well, they're going to mark him out. I'm not sure if they're going to mark him out at the 39.
We got a little laundry on the field. I think they're going to get Luke Allen for a hold.
There's foul play. The pass is completed behind the line.
And Coach Stewart's having a conversation telling him you can't do that. So.
Oh, no, they picked it up.
No, they picked it up. Nice.
All right. Behind the line of scrimmage.
So it will be 2nd down and 1 after the 9-yard pickup.
They called it first down.
Did they?
Yep. You can't see anything down here. I'm down here on the field and I can't see anything, but they called it first down.
Okay, thank you very much.
The chains. Yeah, there we go.
All right, it is. You can see the down box thanks to Coach Prentice buying the digital down box. Turn and hand to Howard, and he'll go right up the middle. Steps out of 1 tackle, but not the second one. He'll get across the 40 to the 42-yard line. A pickup of about 4. 2nd down at 6 coming up. On the stop that time for the Indians, the linebacker Robinson. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. They'll put Howard in motion to the short side of the field. That's this side. 3-step drop. Now he's going to step up and run with it. He'll get across the 45 midfield, down to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, 25, steps inside, and finally is brought down inside the 20 at the 18-yard line. There goes the quarterback, and just making something out of nothing that time. 41 yards for Arizmendi, and it's a Las Vegas Jewelers first down.
Man, I like Arizmendi. He is just a heck of a quarterback for these Wildcats.
2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Now they'll slow it down and check back to the sidelines for the play call. Inside the State Farm Insurance red zone, Mitchell Davis and Tyler Germstead. Snap back to Arizmendi, 2-step drop. Now he's being forced from the outside. He'll throw it toward the end zone. Does he make the catch? No, it's an interception and a touchback is what the official is calling it, and Waxahachie will take over 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Boy, it looked like he had a chance there, Q, to pull that one down, but the safety was able to tip it up and do the tip drill and make the catch.
Yeah, he just went up there, and it was in traffic. It was I like the idea, just throw it up there and give Pilot an opportunity to go up there and get it, but the safety, like you said, made a better play, and so Waxahachie gets the ball, and the Wildcats get their defense back out on the field.
4:41 to go in the First United Bank and Trust third quarter, 25-0. Cats with the lead, and here comes Waxahachie after the turnover. Second one of the ball game for the Wildcats. And they'll come out with an even set. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, 1 back in the backfield. That's Cherry, and Hawkins in a shotgun formation. Snap back, and this time he's going to ride Cherry and give it to him around the left side, trying to get to the edge, and he does for about 8, maybe 9 yards before he is brought down. And on the stop that time for the Cats was Keon Williams, also coming across and making the play for the Cats. On the far side was York. It'll be 2nd down and 3 coming up after the 7-yard carry by Cherry.
Well, and Waxahachie is certainly going with the game plan that we thought. I mean, they're sticking it with their quarterback and their running back.
Split receiver to the far side, 2 to the near side. Now they'll try the bubble screen on the far side. It's complete. He'll get out of 1 tackle, but not the second one. Maybe enough for the first down on a 3-yard pitch and catch that time. On the reception, Jaden Basham. And on the stop for the Wildcats, coming across and making the play was York again. No, excuse me. Making the play that time was Phelan Lee.
Well, the Wildcats will give them those passes all day long if you're going to be throwing 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage out on to the sidelines. They're not concerned about that kind of passing.
1st and 10 for the Indians. 3 receivers to the near side in a diamond formation. 1 back in the backfield with Hawkins. That's Cherry to his left. Snap back, quarterback keeper all the way trying to get to the left side, and he'll be hit just as he crosses the line of scrimmage, and nowhere to go after that. Coming across and making the play that time for the Wildcats was Jalen Jackson.
Well, the play in the first half, that was the big 50-yard plus play with the running back, Cherry, that really happened because Waxahachie was able to get Wildcats in a position to outnumber them on that side. Waxahachie puts trips over on our side and then runs the quarterback the other side, but the Wildcats didn't adjust to where they got outnumbered like they did in the first half.
2nd down and 7. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Snap back to Hawkins trying to set up a screen to the near side. This time Cherry bobbles it, and he is lit up as coming across, Carlton Mack laid the hammer down. It'll be a loss of 3 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 10, and boy, he closed quickly that time, Hugh.
Yeah, he really did, man. The Wildcats have been arriving all night with bad intentions on whoever the ball carrier is. If it's Cherry, if it's Hawkins, if it's somebody else, they have been coming ready to lay the wood, and so that's something that is just kind of traditional for the Wildcats. They've been doing it all year long. This defense again can't say their praises enough, man. They've been playing their tails off.
3rd down and 10 for the Indians. They'll huddle up right behind the football with the offensive line. Now they break. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, 1 back in the backfield with Hawkins in a shotgun formation. And now a timeout is going to be called by the Indians. 1:58 to go in the First United Bank & Trust 3rd quarter. Your score, Temple 25, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football will continue in 1 minute on Fox Sports Central Texas. Welcome back to Wildcat Football here on Fox Sports Central Texas, presented by Baylor Scott & White, Roney Bone & Joint Institute. 3rd down and 10 for the Indians. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Snap back to Hawkins. 3-step drop. Still dropping, now looking to go downfield. Being pressured and flushed out of the pocket. He'll throw it to the sidelines. Intercepted! Going back the other way to the 20-yard line with the INT that time. The linebacker, Phelan Lee. 2nd INT of the ball game, and the Cats are in business inside the State Farm Insurance red zone.
And he threw it right to him. I mean, again, when he has to roll out and has to throw the ball, he gets out of his element. It's just not comfortable. And Phelan Lee was right where he was supposed to be, right in the line of fire, and came up with the big play right there.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cats, and they're not quite in the red zone. They're knocking on the door at the 21-yard line is where the official will mark that down for Lee. So about 11-yard return, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cats on the left hash. 3 receivers to the near side. Empty set to the far side. This time they'll give it to Howard. He puts his foot in the ground and cuts it up the middle, gets inside the 20. Now they're in the State Farm red zone on a 4-yard gain, second down, or 3-yard gain, second down and 7 coming up for the Cats.
Well, Temple has some options here. There may even be some things they want to run and experiment with for against Rockwall Heath or that round 2 game.
Turn and hand to Howard. I'm trying to get through the left side, breaks a couple of tackles and drags some white jerseys to the 12-yard line, and it's going to be just shy of the yardage needed for the first down. It'll be 3rd down and about a half yard for the Wildcats. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Here's Mende in shotgun, and that's going to be a false start by the offense.
On the offense.
As the Cats couldn't hold their water on the near side. And so that'll push them back. It'll be 3rd down and 5.5 coming up for the Wildcats.
It happens.
2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Shotgun formation for Ayers Mende. This time he will give it to Howard, and Howard is slung down right at the 20-yard line and coming across and making the play that time for the Indians, Jamarcus Head, the freshman linebacker, and it'll be 4th down and 6, and they'll run Wagaman out for the field goal. And he'll spot the ball down at the 24, I believe, is where he's going to put this down.
Yeah.
Right at it, so a 34-yard attempt, and the Cats are late getting the field goal unit out on the field. That won't make Coach Stewart happy.
Well, they do have an option. They could let the clock run out and just take it to the 4th quarter.
So a 34-yard attempt by Wagaman. Howard on the hole. Movement all over the place. Kick is up, and it is good as the final play of the third quarter comes to an end. Your new score at Wildcat Stadium, Temple 28, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football will continue in 1 minute on Fox Sports Central Texas.
There you go.
34-yarder.
Yeah, I mean, he's a heck of a weapon, man. It's windy.
Is it
now.
chilly?
It is windy and cold.
Well,
out
that
here
flag
now.
up there is really blowing now.
That's what I'm saying.
Jumbotron here at Wildcat Stadium in the west end zone. Left to right. And his 2 previous kicks off this half have been those high short kicks, and this one's more of the same. Fair caught by Langford on the far side, this time at the 37-yard line, and that's where 38-yard line, that's where Waxahachie will take over. Your Required Tire Sporting Summary with Steven Simcox.
It was a 3-play drive, covered 4 yards. Wagner was a 34-yard field goal to extend Temple. Took a minute 39.
Thank you, Steven. Our time brings you the scoring summary. 8-0 as we get the 4th quarter started, brought to you by Texas Home Health Hospice. As the Indians will huddle up on the far sideline, break the huddle. Now they go right to left in the white trimmed in green. They'll send 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 1 back in the backfield. That's Cherry with Hawkins in a shotgun formation on 1st and 10. Snap back, and they'll give it to the back on the far side. Excuse me, that's not Cherry in the backfield with him. That is going to be Preston Hodge.
Yeah, that's the cornerback.
The cornerback from the defense into the ball game now at running back. Well, and now he checks out, and now Cherry checks back in.
Okay, I'm about to say when Cherry got lit up earlier, he limped to the side of off the field, but he is back in the game.
So 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. A good pickup that time of 7 yards. 2nd down and 3 coming up for the Indians. Snap back, and this time it's quarterback keeper. Hawkins has nowhere to go, and he will be surrounded by blue jerseys and drop for another 2-yard loss. And Coach Rourke, I don't know how many lost plays that he's carried the football, but it's got to be more than a handful right now. 3rd down and 7 now coming up after the 4-yard loss. 28-0, Cats with the lead here. We'll get an update on a score here from Steven Simcox in that other by-district game with Rockwall, Heath, and Garland. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side, trying to set up the screen. It's not there. Now he's going to have to pull it down and run with it, and he stays behind the line of scrimmage and just floats it down the sidelines, incomplete, and there is laundry on the field at the 49-yard line. Coach Stewart's not very happy. It's maybe going against the Cats. And if it's right there, that's probably holding.
Yeah, there are a couple flags thrown.
Yeah, I would think that there would one be a legal lineman,
Offensive line downfield.
Yeah, just because it was a screen pass they were trying to set up, and he had the ball forever.
It may be offsetting penalties in that case. I think maybe they got Carlton Mack on a hold on this near side, that flag that's at the 49-yard line. But the one that you're talking about up by the 46-yard line on the other side of the field, that may be the offensive lineman downfield. And now both teams getting talked to by the official. Maybe it's getting a little bit chippy outside.
Yep.
There are 2 fouls on the play. There's a line ball foul.
Now he's confused on, he's trying to get it right. I think he's trying to get the number here from the official. We'll get the call.
Ineligible lineman downfield. Number 61 on the offense.
Good call, Q.
We have dead ball, personal foul, number 9 on the defense. The penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the previous spot for the ineligible lineman, and then there will be 15 yards from that spot, and it will be a 1st down.
So they'll mark off both penalties, one because it's a dead ball foul, and that's an automatic 1st down, but the lineman downfield will get marked off, and then the 15 yards, and both of those are spot fouls. So that'll put the ball just across the 50-yard line.
That's
but
5 yards.
It was a dead ball.
For the
they have
lineman
to enforce
downfield,
both
and
penalties
then 15,
instead of it being
and it is an automatic
offsetting
1st down.
penalties,
And
that'll
we have a
make it
live
1st and 10 for the Indians.
Nice job, Ward. I'm breaking it down just to get.
Hey.
There was a lot to unpack there.
He was even confused, the official.
2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. Cherry in the backfield to his left. And they'll snap it back to him. He's looking for the far sidelines. Now he's going to throw it deep. Has the receiver clearing, caught, and dropped at the 15-yard line. Had him all alone, and he looked for the blue turf before he forgot one important thing. Blair Williams took his eyes off the football and dropped it.
Well, Keon Williams should right now be, saying his prayers, thank you, Jesus, and everything else he wants to say, because he was beat. He bit on the pump fake. On the the stop and go.
Yep.
He was playing the stop and didn't play the go.
Well, and that happens when you don't trust the quarterback's arm and believe that they can get it down the field. You don't think that they can throw that ball.
2nd down and 10. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. This time he'll give it to Cherry, trying to get around the right side, and he'll weave his way just around a couple of blue jerseys and be forced out of bounds by York on the far side, but not before he picks up good positive yardage. It'll be short of the yardage needed for the 1st down, and a flag flies in. That's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct, and I think this is going to go against the Cats.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Unsportsmanlike, number 4 on the defense. Unsportsmanlike, number 9 on the offense. That is each player's first unsportsmanlike. Any further unsportsmanlike will result in an ejection. Plays offset, 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd down and 5 coming up as unsportsmanlike conduct on both sides of the ball. And the 2 players that got the unsportsmanlike, that was their first unsportsmanlike. So another one from them, and they will be out of this ball game the remainder.
And for the Wildcats, it was Keon Williams, so he hasn't had a good series the last couple of plays.
3rd down and 5 for the Indians now. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Snap back to Hawkins, a 3-step drop. Now he's going to be flushed out of the pocket and being chased by Taylor, and he throws it to the sidelines, incomplete. It'll be 4th down and 5, and Taylor was right on his bumper that time.
Well, Waxahachie was going back to the well. I mean, they were basically going to run that same stop-and-go play to see if they could get it again. And Keon Williams he's like, first of all, he's 17 yards off the receiver. He's like, okay, if you're going to beat me on something, because he's already turned film day tomorrow, he's going to get some attention tomorrow on a couple plays.
It'll be 4th down and 5 for the Indians. 9:58 to go in this one. 28-0, Cats with the lead. Play clock down to 6, so they're trying to have to hurry to get this one off. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. He'll turn and fake the handoff to Cherry. Here comes the blitz for the Cats, and they have him dropped back at the 41-yard line, and coming across, Marshall Grays with the sack and a loss, and the Cats will take over 1st and 10.
Been saying Marshall Gray's name quite a bit tonight, haven't you?
Yes.
And that dude, and again, it's not just tonight. I mean, this is nothing like all of a sudden something out of some story that we haven't read already. The Wildcats defense has been doing this all year long, led by Grays, led by Shorter, led by York. All these guys have been out there balling.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cats. Ball will be on the left hash at the 42-yard line of the Indians. 3 receivers to the far side. Shotgun formation for Arizmende. This time he'll give it to Howard. Howard leans forward for about 5 on the carry before he is brought down on the left side. Coming across and making the play, Jace Robinson and Dakota Brown. It'll be 2nd down and 5 coming up for the Cats. They'll flip the formation, send 3 receivers to the right. Shotgun formation for Arizmende. Snap back, looking to the right. Now he has it complete to Taylor. Weaves his way to the 30, steps inside, 25, 20, 15, out of a tackle, 10, 5, touchdown Wildcats! 38 yards on the screen pass, and the Cats extend the lead on the Smile at the World Orthodontics touchdown, Dr. Josh Knowles, and the Cats have put this one just about out of reach, 34-0 with your PAT up and coming.
You know, you can't let Taylor get a little bit of green grass in front of him because he makes plays happen, man. He is fun to watch. Nice way to take it to the house and shake out of a tackle.
Wagaman comes in for the Clem McCuskers Barbecue PAT out of the hold of Samari Howard. Snap back, it's high. Howard gets it down, kick is up, and it is good. Your new score from Wildcat Stadium, Temple 35, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football continues in 1 minute on Fox Sports Central Texas.
Everything in our world is connected. At Grande, we continue to invest millions in our fiber-rich network so you can have the most reliable connections when you need them most. These connections inspire our greatest passions in life. And as you follow your dreams, we're here for you every step of the way, 24/7, with our award-winning customer service, until one day, you become who you were always meant to be. Keep your family and home connected with Grande's lightning-fast internet. Imagine better with Grande.
Fox Sports Central Texas, presented by Baylor Scott and White Roni Bone and Joint Institute. Cats extend the lead 35-0 with 9:18 to go in the Texas Home Health Hospice 4th quarter over the Indians of Waxahachie. As Wagaman gets ready for the Sports World kickoff, we'll get that scoring summary after this. He'll put his foot into leather. This time he kicks it deep, and it'll be caught and returned from the 3-yard line out to the about the 13-yard line before he is put down there by the Wildcat return team. And guess who? Marshall Gray's on the tackle that time. A return of 7 yards, and that's it. And that's where the Indians will take over 1st and 10. Your McGuire Tire scoring summary with Steven Simcox.
It was 2-play drive, Ward, 42 yards, Taylor on a 38-yard touchdown catch, and it took 32 seconds off the clock.
All right, thank you, Stephen. McGuire Tires brings you the scoring summary. Your score 35-0, as Stephen said, 9:11 to go here in the Texas Home Health Hospice fourth quarter.
Well, Stephen, you may need a break and a glass of water after that long that play recap.
How many plays he had to go on that one?
Yeah.
Oh, the Cats
Luckily,
strike fast.
Luckily, Stephen's a college graduate.
Yeah.
He's able to take care of that.
Split receiver on the far side, split receiver on the near side for the Indians, who go right to left. Pistol formation, and this time Cherry does get the handoff right up the middle, and there are several blue jerseys to meet him right at the line of scrimmage there first. Cody Little on the stop for the Wildcats. A gain of 1, 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Indians.
And this is what started happening in that first half. The fans or people listening think, well, an 18-0 halftime score. The problem is that Waxahachie's offense just does not built and designed for coming back on that stuff, and they're really here they're still running the ball with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, right?
2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and this time they'll hand it off to Cherry, trying to get on the left side, and he'll pick up a couple, but that's it, as he's tripped up at the line of scrimmage, that time by York, and it'll be a gain of about 2, maybe 3. It'll bring up 3rd down and 6 now for the Indians.
Well, gentlemen, Wildcats are certainly on track here with 8 minutes left to go to get their first 6A playoff since moving back up to the largest classification, their first playoff win since 2017, and first in being back up in the largest classification. Puts us at Baylor next weekend, right?
As far as I know, that's been confirmed, but we'll find out for sure. Yeah, I think you're exactly right, is what Coach Prentice was telling us before the ball game. 3 receivers to the far side, and this time a quarterback keeper, and he steps out of a tackle and then finally tripped up as he crosses the line of scrimmage, and coming across and making the play that time for the Wildcats was Jalen Trevino, and he stopped a bigger play that time, Q, because there was a lot of green if Jalen doesn't get his paw out there and trip him up.
Yeah, absolutely, and we all know that Hawkins could go. I mean, he could wiggle out of there, and so he saw a lot of green. He was about to make a move, and luckily for the Wildcats, the paw came out and just tripped him up.
2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Shotgun formation for Hawkins on 1st and 10 for the Indians. And they'll snap it back, and this time he's going to keep it on the quarterback keeper. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it before several Cats come in and make the play. And there first was Tommy Torres. It'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Indians. Under 7 minutes to go in the Texas Home Health Hospice fourth quarter, 35-0. Cats with the lead over the Waxahachie Indians in this bi-district championship here at Wildcat Stadium.
Hey, Bell County boy Jeff Cheatham from Rogers High School, head coach at Round Rock, they just upset Lake Travis in the first round of 6A Division I.
Wow.
Round Rock Dragons. Yeah.
2 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. Snap back. And confusion in the backfield. Now he's in all kinds of trouble trying to make something, and he's not going to be able to as he is hit hard coming across and making the play. Jaden Jackson for the Wildcats.
And Tommy Torres is all over the field as well. He was right there on that play, and that was a broken play like you mentioned. Just confusion in the backfield, and the Wildcats did not fall for the banana in the tailpipe. They got up there and made the play.
So it'll be 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Indians. And after this play, we'll go to Steven Simcox for a score update back at the Marco Pizza sports desk. 3rd down and 10. 3 receivers to the far side of the field now. Shotgun formation for Hawkins. And they'll snap it back and roll to the wide side of the field, still rolling and being chased by York, and now he'll just throw it over on the track. Probably a pretty good decision because York was breathing down his neck that time. It'll be 4th down and 10 for the Indians, and they'll punt it away. Let's go to Steven Simcox for a score update.
Yeah, Ward, Rockwall Heath leading Garland 35-14 with about 6 minutes left in that one. Winner of that game will play Temple as long as they hold on here, which it looks like they will. And then in 12-6A, Cedar Hill shutting out Bryan 27-0 in the fourth quarter.
Thank you, Steven Simcox. Back in the studios. We'll hear from him in the post-game show as well. 4th down and 10 coming up for Waxahachie, and they'll punt this ball back to the Wildcats, and Taylor will stand at his 35-yard line, and Milik will punt this away, and it's a Low kick that's going to land and check up right at the 40-yard line. Now it takes an Indian bounce inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line, and that's where the Cats will take over after a 42-yard punt and no return with 5:28 to go in the Texas Home Health Hospice fourth quarter, leading 35-0 here at Wildcat Stadium.
So this is going to be a fun little celebration. I can see the fans here in the stands. It is getting a little chilly out here, like I mentioned, but the fans in the stands here that are still here are pretty excited about this victory. You guys mentioned before 6A, first victory for the Temple Wildcats. This is a big deal here.
Cats will have it 1st and 10. Two receivers to the right, to the left, two to the right, and Pilot in at quarterback. And he'll give the ball to Howard. Howard breaks through the big hole. And that's McVade all the way inside the 30 before he is tripped up and brought down. And McVade just blew right through the middle of that offensive line for a big gain of 45 yards. It'll be a Las Tavica Jewelers first down for the Cats. Two receivers to the right, one to the left. Pilot, shotgun. McVade stands next to him, and he gets it again, trying to get to the left side, and he'll be slung down in the backfield. Coming across and making the tackle that time was Jamarcus Head, the freshman for the Indians, and he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. 2nd down and 10 coming up.
You know, and the cool thing about that is when McVade was making that run, the guy that was running on the sideline almost simultaneously with him was Samari Howard running down the sideline cheering him on. That's what I love about that young man.
Two receivers to the right, one to the left. Pilot in shotgun formation. Now Robinson to his right, and he'll get the call right up the middle. Picks up a couple of positive yards before he is knocked off his feet. It'll be a gain of a couple. 3rd down and 8 coming up for the Wildcats. And that is not Robinson in the ball game. That is Bryce Langram into the ball game for the Wildcats. Sorry, Bryce.
Well, you can tell that Coach Stewart's trying to get some of these seniors in too. So I mean, this is their last time to play at Wildcat Stadium.
Two receivers to the right, one to the left. Snap back to Pilot, looking downfield. Now he's going to be flushed and slung down at the 30. Coming across and making the play, the nose guard DeMarcus Becks. It'll be a loss of about 5. It'll be 4th down and 12 now coming up for the Wildcat offense.
Good coverage by Waxahachie. Right decision by Pilot. Just don't throw the ball. Take the sack. Play your next down.
3:37 and counting in this one, as they'll go ahead and work the last 15 seconds of the play clock down.
Mm-hmm. Is it 3rd or 4th down? Is it 4th?
It should. Oh, it is 4th down. Excuse me. 4th and 13.
Yeah.
As maybe they'll call the timeout after this.
Timeout.
And there you go. Timeout called by the Temple Wildcats. We'll take it with them. 3:16 to go in the Texas Home Health Hospice fourth quarter. Your score, Temple 35, Waxahachie nothing. Wildcat football continues in 30 seconds on Fox Sports Central Texas. Wildcat football here on Fox Sports Central Texas. Q on the sidelines, brought to you by Texas Tour Gear. It's cold out there.
Yes, it is. It got cold real quick, man. That wind and that fog combined, and all of a sudden it just got turned into a frostbite out here.
So the Cats are going to attempt a field goal on 4th down and 12, and they'll mark it down at the, well, let's call it the 35. So a 45-yard attempt from Wagaman. Samari Howard on the hold for the Wildcats. Snap back, hold down, kick is up. It is long enough, and it is good. From 45 yards out, Wagaman knocks it through the pipes and extends the lead for the Wildcats, 38-0. And boy, He was fired up about that one, Q.
Well, he was, and so was Coach Stewart. I don't know if you saw him, but Coach Stewart met him about a little bit beyond the numbers and went and did a chest bump with him. Yeah, very, very excited. That young man has a heck of a leg, so love to see what he does out there.
Well, and Coach Rourke, I mean, he is on the track, right? I mean, for all-time scorer, how far is he?
He's at 298, and I believe the record is 312, Lake Seastrunk.
So one more round.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he could have that at Baylor Stadium next weekend.
He could absolutely get there. So Wagaman with the field goal. Let's get that scoring summary from Stephen Simcox. Stephen?
It was a 5-play drive. It covered 46 yards. Wagaman with a 45-yard field goal, and it took 3 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock.
That's the most important stat. Thank you, Stephen. Taking 3 minutes off the clock, Q, and that's what Coach Stewart said even in the pregame. He would like to have some drives that chew up this clock tonight. I think he's been successful doing that so far.
He has, and you have to have that in the playoffs anyway. You got to have those drives, those 4 minutes, 5-minute drives that you can ice the game. You can close them out if you have to, and you have to have the offensive line. You have to have the running game. You have to have, everything go right for you in those type of situations. So not only is it helping in this game, but it's also preparing them for later on down the road in the playoffs.
Q on the sidelines, brought to you by Texas Tour Gear. He'll catch up with Coach Stewart after the presentation of the gold football and talking to his team. Wagaman puts the Sports World kickoff deep down the middle of the field and into the end zone for a touchback. 3:09 to go here in the Texas Home Health Hospice fourth quarter. Cats in charge 38-0 over the Indians of Waxahachie.
Well, an early congratulations to Coach Stewart and his team and just the preparation. I mean, the Wildcats, to me, just from the beginning of the game throughout this whole thing, just seem like they're better prepared. They've got their minds right. The way they're executing, I mean, the defense just has been even as good as we always brag on the defense. I think they even played another notch up tonight, Q.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So just a fantastic game for the Wildcats.
2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. They'll turn around and hand the football off to Cherry again, and he steps out of a couple of tackles and gets out to the 29-yard line. 4-yard carry, second down at 6 coming up for the Indians. And Rockwall Heath will advance and be the opponent for the Temple Wildcats. And we'll get the exact time and location. If Q could catch up with Coach Prentice on the sidelines here in a minute, maybe he can find that out for us, if that's going to be Friday night or Saturday and what time that kickoff might be. Here in a little bit, we'll get that for you. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Shotgun formation. And they'll turn and give it to Cherry coming to the near side. And he will be wrapped up and dropped at the 30-yard line by the Wildcats. And coming across and making the play, Wardell and Freeman for the Wildcats.
Well, the Wildcat defense, they have their 2D team in now. So all the starters are over on the sideline. So these guys get some opportunities to get playoff time. Getting around one playoff time is a big deal.
So it will be third down and about 4.5 to go. Ball sits at the 31-yard line for the Indians, and they're not in any hurry here either. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. 3 backs in the backfield. As a keeper right up the middle that time by Roderick Hartsfield. And he'll be about a yard short. So 4th and 1 coming up, and Hartsfield into the ball game now at quarterback, and he is a 6 foot, 180-pound sophomore for the Indians.
I got an update for you.
Thank you.
Baylor on Friday. Not sure if it's 7 or 7:30 yet.
Thank you very much. So there you go. It is a Friday night ball game at Baylor at McLean Stadium with the Wildcats and the Yellow Jackets from Rockwall Heath, although they're orange and black. You just don't see that very often up with a Yellow Jacket, do you?
I haven't seen an orange-yellow jacket. I guess I will next Friday night.
You will next Friday night. And this ball is going to take a big Waxahachie bounce and a good kick by Mielik that time. It'll roll dead at the 11-yard line. 54 yards on the punt, no return, and that's where the Wildcats will take over, 1st and 10, with 41 seconds remaining in the ball game.
And that was everything Tredarius Taylor took every ounce of energy and commitment,
discipline,
and maybe even some spiritual stuff was mixed in there for him to not pick that ball up and turn it into a run.
There's a personal foul penalty on the field. I'm not sure who it's on though.
Oh, thank you. Laundry on the field brought to you by Johnny's Cleaners. Yeah, the flag's laying back at the 49-yard line.
Yeah, it was between the Temple and Waxahachie players. They were going back and forth. I just don't know who they got on this one.
We get the call from the official. Once again, the official's out of the College Station chapter.
Dead ball.
Personal foul.
Number 15 on the kicking team.
Against the kicking team. And so
15-yard penalty.
They'll mark that off, and that'll put them outside the 20. Although I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot. I would expect to see Q's favorite formation here with only 41 seconds remaining.
Agreed. It's the best formation in football.
And we'll see what Coach Stewart and the offensive staff want to do. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line. And a new quarterback into the ball game for the Cats. And I cannot... There is the number, and they'll turn and hand it off to McVade, who'll get about 3 or 4 yards. In at quarterback now for the Cats is Xander Kelm. Is that right, Coach? Kelm. Thank you very much.
Kelm.
So Kelm now in at quarterback, and he turns and hands to McVade. It'll be about a 4-yard gain. 2nd down and 6 coming up for the Cats. And they're not going to have to snap it again.
Yeah, Kelm's a senior, and he plays wide receiver and also one of the backup quarterbacks.
Please turn off the play clock.
Going to run the final seconds off the clock here at Wildcat Stadium. And the Temple Wildcats have broken the drought of a couple of years of winning a bi-district championship. Their first one in 6A. And the Cats move on to round number 2 in the Texas High School playoffs, as they'll meet up with Rockwall Heath next Friday night at McLean Stadium in Waco, taking on the Yellow Jackets. Your final score, Temple 38 and Waxahachie nothing. Stay tuned. Your Dynasty Chinese Restaurant post-game show is next on Fox Sports Central Texas.
We're clear.
Thank you. 38-0.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to Wildcat football here at Wildcat Stadium, presented by Baylor Scott and White Roni Bone and Joint Institute. This is the Dynasty Chinese Restaurant postgame show, and I tried to tell you guys, Rockwall Heath is the Hawks, not the Yellow Jackets, and that's who the Temple Wildcats will face next Friday night at McLean Stadium. Rockwall High is the orange and white team that are the Yellow Jackets, not Rockwall Heath.
Well, you and Tyler Germstead, one of our sponsors, are on the same page.
Yeah,
Tyler just sent in the text with State Farm. By the way, Tyler, I want you and Mitchell Davis to know we had a hard time getting red zone in for you guys because the Wildcats kept just blasting through. Yeah, they went right past the presentation of the trophy.
So the Cats getting the gold ball about the 15-yard line and very excited to get that trophy here at Wildcat Stadium as coaches presented to it and the team gets it as well. And we'll catch up with Coach Stewart here after he visits with his players and Q on the sidelines. But guys, just an overall complete win tonight for the Temple Wildcats. If you look at what they were able to do offensively and defensively, and we talked about the defense coming into the ball game, and they kind of set the tone with the interception return for 6 after the offense fumbled the football a couple of plays later. They take it to the house and give them the lead. They never turn back after that.
No, what else do you want? You got 38-0. You really, no big mistakes tonight. Couple little spots. There's certainly always going to be some stuff on film that you can work on, but this is what you want. I mean, you're wanting to be in a spot for moving into round 2 and playing your best football, and playing with composure, have poise, confidence. And the Wildcats were showing all of that tonight. Listen, they're in you guys heard it from me. I put it out there very, very early in the season that I think this is a round 3 or round 4 team, and in the playoffs. And then once you get to round 3 and round 4, anything can happen. But sometimes you got to find that rhythm through that round 1 and round 2. Just find that rhythm and get into that sync to carry you through those later rounds. And I think the Wildcats did that tonight.
I agree. And the one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to play too much into this shutout win here at Wildcat Stadium. We can. It's fun for us to talk about it. It's fun for the fans. But I know that Coach Stewart right now is probably talking to his team and say, that's one.
That's one.
That's all it is that's one. Don't get overly excited. Don't get ahead of your skis. We've got another game coming up next Friday night. We're one of the lucky ones. Everything just got cut in half tonight across the state of Texas and tomorrow night with the playoffs because it's win or go home, and the Cats won and they get to move on. But again, you don't make too much out of this. You just go about your normal business, right?
Well, the playoff mindset isn't, what is it Q always likes to say about your daddy? He said
I'd rather be lucky than good.
Yes, okay. When you get into the playoffs, it just, everything is that one time. Whatever happens, if you finish and you're ahead on the scoreboard, you forget about whatever happened, and it's a new week. It's a new week and a new season, 1 week at a time, and that's what makes the high school playoffs so fun, too.
Yeah.
It adds that element to it where you survived. You go from 64 teams to 32 after this weekend.
Shinless, we'll catch in with Coach Stewart as Q's trying to catch up with him down on the field. And it is brought to you by Locker Room Haircuts. Take it away, Q.
Coach, you just presented the gold ball to your team. What did that mean to you?
Oh, it means the world. Again, I know because of the changing classifications, but technically that's the first 6A playoff win in Temple history. So we've been the biggest classification before when it was 5A, but we're gonna use that little nuance to make sure we appreciate that, because we got to celebrate all wins. It's not easy to win in Texas. That's a dang good football team. Just so proud of our kids for playing their guts out.
Well, you guys earned the right to play next week. What does that mean to? It's the playoffs. It's win or go home. You mentioned it. You compared it to 300 earlier. It's hey, someone's going to die on the field. Someone's going to live. You lived.
Well, and we're blessed to be so. We know where our power comes from, and we know where our opportunity comes from. So played well enough to win tonight. You got to rinse this one. You've got to get over wins faster. When in the playoffs, my philosophy is you can probably hang on to losses a little longer because it's going to be 6 months, 8 months before you play again. But wins, you got to flush it. You got to enjoy it for a couple hours, flush it, and get your butt back to work. or else you're detracting from the process to potentially leading to another one.
Offensively, you guys got in rhythm in the second half, really started cooking. Defense played great all game long. But how about the special teams unit? Of course, Wagaman is great with the leg, and then Taylor's back there. They didn't even want to kick to him. He's so dynamic. So that special team unit is special.
Well, and you got to play. Hopefully, we're playing our best football at the right time. Again, couldn't be more proud of those guys because I'm going to tell you this: Wag's a special talent, but Wag can't do it by himself.
Right.
We're doing those little book meetings, and I meet with the kickers, and I said, belief is the word of the day. And you have to believe as a kicker because two guys in that situation, touch the ball before you do.
Right.
So you got to have two guys execute perfectly before you even get a chance to execute.
Right.
So he gets all the credit in the world, but those 9 guys in front of him, man, they did a heck of a job. Some of those long field goals have a lower trajectory, and we got the jumpers down. I mean, just very proud of overall effort.
Yeah, and I saw you meet him at half field when he made that last kick. Well, the final question for you, I saw you point over to the crowd. They've been cheering you guys on the whole game. They're so proud of you right now. They're all lined up along the sideline here and on the fence. What are your thoughts to the Temple faithful?
I've never been anywhere like this.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I think to a fault, I tell the truth. I tell it like it is, and sometimes that gets me in trouble. But I've done this for 21 years, and I've never, again, it's good and bad.
Right.
You don't play well, they'll be the first ones in your face too. But I've worked with places that didn't care, and I'll take misguided passion over apathy any day of the week. And those are the most unbelievable fans. This is the most unbelievable community I've ever been a part of.
Absolutely. Well, go enjoy it, Coach, and we'll see you next week at McLean Stadium.
Appreciate it. Love you guys.
I appreciate you, Coach. Back to you, Ward.
Thank you, Q. Coach Stewart on the sidelines, brought to you by Locker Room Haircuts. A very happy Coach Stewart as they get the win here at Wildcat Stadium and move on in the Texas UIL playoffs, 38-0 over the Waxahachie Indians. Stay tuned. The Dynasty Chinese Restaurant post-game show coming up. We'll get to halftime, some post-game thoughts. We'll also get your numbers in this one, and maybe a few more visits with Q down on the sidelines as he'll stay down there and talk to a couple of the players momentarily. We're back in 1 minute on Fox Sports Central Texas. Q, you got somebody? Welcome back to Wildcat Football here on Fox Sports Central Texas, presented by Baylor Scott & White Roney Bone and Joint Institute. Temple Wildcats are the by-district champions. They win over Waxahachie 38-0. Let's go back down to Q and a few more visits down on the sidelines. Take it away, Q.
Yeah, yes. I'm over here with Coach Sadler, offensive coordinator for the Wildcats, and you guys just came up with your first victory in Class 6A, and I know the Wildcats are not it's nothing new on winning playoff games, but in 6A, this is the first one for you guys. How's it feel?
It's a great feeling. It's a huge win for us, huge win for our program. You know, jumping up to 6A, being one of the smallest schools in 6A, and then be able to come out here. I mean, we've had a couple of hiccups the last couple of years, you know.
Right.
Tough ball game to Mesquite Horn 2 years ago, and then last year against Longview. To come out here, for these kids to come out here and put the game together that they did was unreal. It really was. Our defense went out there and absolutely played lights out. I'm so proud of our defensive staff right now. I mean, as an offensive guy, you know, we were inconsistent, and we're going to find a way to get that fixed. But, you know, I'm just proud of our kiddos. They did a heck of a job. It was a great win for our program, great win for our town. Couldn't be more proud of it.
How comfortable does that make you, knowing that the defense plays as well as it does, that you don't have to get outside of who you are?
Very comfortable. I mean, anybody that calls offensive plays in the state of Texas or in the country for that matter will tell you if your defense is playing good defense, it allows you to open up and do some things that you probably wouldn't normally do, that
Right.
you might be a little bit too tight to call and things like that. It allows you to get a little creative and do some things that are a little outside the box. And with them playing good defense like that, it allows us to do that.
Second half, you guys got in more of a rhythm than you had in the first half. You didn't get behind the chains on any penalties,
Right.
and the offensive line looked like it started blocking downhill.
Right.
You got some running backs back there that can go.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I'm going to tell you right now, we got a special stable running backs, headed by number 8, Samar Howard. He does a great job. And it's just been a culmination of everything that they've done throughout the entire year. The weight room in the summer workouts,
Right.
Just getting themselves in great shape. They don't get tired. I mean, you watch 8, he's out on every special team. He's doing all that stuff. Doesn't get tired. I mean, it's just they're great kids. They do a great job.
Well, you guys have done a great job. You guys earned a trip to McLean Stadium next week. I know you're excited, so congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Have a
Back
good
to you,
night.
Ward.
Thank you, Q,
Coach.
on the sidelines. Appreciate that fine work as always. And very excited Temple Wildcat football team and fan base here at Wildcat Stadium as they get the by-district championship 38-0 over the Waxahachie Indians. Let's get your stats from Coach as they are brought to you by Automatic Chef Canteen. And the numbers tonight in this one, Coach Rourke.
Well, Ward, in the second half, Hawkins went 3 of 9 for 6 yards. So the total game, he was 4 for 12 for 15 yards and 2 interceptions. In the second half, Waxahachie managed 4 yards rushing on 15 carries, a total of 105 yards rushing. So the Wildcat defense gave up 120 yards of offense to a team that's normally used to getting a couple of hundred on the ground every game. Now the Wildcats in the second half, Arizmendi went 2 for 3 for 47 yards. For the game, 8 for 11 for 110 yards, 2 TDs and 1 interception. Rushing, the Cats had a total of 32 rushes for 257 yards on the game, 134 yards in the second half. 98 of those.
Superstar gets a camera action.
98 of those come from Samari Howard.
Congrats, man.
367 yards of total offense on the game versus 120 for Waxahachie. And like we said before, Aaron Wagaman, 298 career points and counting.
Pretty good numbers for that defense. And Q, that's a statement game for this defense to be able to come out and only allow 5 yards in the second half of total offense.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And again, you heard Coach Sadler, when you have a defense like that, you could do a lot of things offensively, and so that's an offensive coordinator's best friend is a great defense, and that's what the Wildcats have. And I have no problem saying they have a great defense. I've seen it all year long, up close and personal, and it seems like it's just getting better and better. And this is when you want it to be at its best in the playoff time. And for them to slow down and stop, really, those guys that they stopped today, Hawkins and Cherry and all the other athletes that they have on Waxahachie, that was a big, big deal.
Yeah, you look at this defense, and you've said it multiple times all season long, Art, that this defense has the capability of being a very special defense, and I think we see it each and every week. Now, look, they face some really good talent in this district, and that got them ready for tonight. There's no doubt about it. But we've seen them, as hard as it is to say, with all the shutouts they had in the second half, would they have 4 or 5 this season in the second half, starting with that Longview game that completely took us by surprise? I'm not afraid to say that. And they just keep that thing rolling, and I think they get better each and every week.
Well, one thing I think all of us have in common, whether it's the coaching staff, people in the stands, or us on this broadcast, nobody's surprised.
Yeah.
That's what we expect now. I mean, this Wildcat defense is just it's like just as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, it's just that's just how we think about it. It's like you're going to go out there and if your offense can go out and score 20, 30, certainly 40 points, it's like the game's in the bag.
The thing about it, guys, real quick, is that ever since they shut out Longview at AT&T Stadium in that second half, and I remember being in the booth there and saying, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming, but they consistently did that throughout the rest of the season. Second half, shut teams out. They get to the playoffs and they shut out the team for the whole game. I mean, they're just – I think that game in AT&T Stadium, very first game of the season, I think that gave them so much confidence that they could play a very dynamic team, a team that is used to winning games, a lot of games, championships, all of that good stuff. They just believed, and I feel like half of that belief or most of that belief is what's been carrying them throughout the season.
I think the other thing about this defense that it's not, none of us are surprised now about what the defense is doing. But what is amazing is the fact that this is a defense with only four senior starters.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And and there were only 3 returning starters from last season. Very, very not just new starters on the team, but also younger players. I mean, including really the leading tackler, Torian York. He's a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
A sophomore.
Right.
And I mean, their whole linebacker crew is all back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, these names and stuff that you're hearing called out and these stars, and I mean, Eric Shorter, one of Q's, favorites.
Man.
I mean, he's a junior.
Yeah.
He's a junior. I mean, you lose Keon Williams, he's a senior.
Carlton
Mack, Cody Little, and Javen Taylor.
Right.
And so that's amazing.
Yeah, they do a great job, and they don't mind their backs being put up against the wall. I mean, you've seen it several times, and you saw it tonight. They get their back against the wall, they bow their neck. They turn them away twice inside the 5-yard line tonight. That's a sign of a really good defense that just believes every time they take the field, they're going to be successful. And right now, the Wildcats have that momentum going, and now they get back to work for another week as they head to McLean Stadium next Friday night. You're listening to the Dynasty Chinese Restaurant postgame show. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll send it to Steven Simcox back in the studios as he'll show you how this one unfolded here at Wildcat Stadium with the highlights and some scores from around the area. We're back right after this on Fox Sports Central Texas.
Walk On Sports Bistro puts everything we've got into bringing
Welcome back to the Dynasty Chinese Restaurant post-game show. Wildcat football here on Fox Sports Central Texas. Cats get the win, 38-0 over Waxahachie in the Bi-District Championship. And the next opponent, Rockwall Heath, next Friday night, home of the Hawks.
Are they yellow or are they orange?
I don't know.
The yellow Hawks.
The Yellow Hawks. Yeah, well,
give us you had a little insight on the.
I mean, look, some of this stuff, Rockwall Heath. This is a team this year averaging over 500 plus yards per game, 50 points per game. So think track meet. I mean, they love running up and down the field, putting points in. That's the way they operate. Defensively, they give up a lot of points a game. If you look at their scores, they had one game, I think they won 71 to 62 kind of deal, right? Yeah. So that's the you're definitely going into next Friday and thinking about it next week. It's going to that piece to what's going to happen with the clash between the Wildcat defense and the Rockwall Heath offense. And none of that should surprise anybody listening to this broadcast and follows the Wildcats, because Coach Spradlin is the coach there, and at Temple, he was here before he went down to athletic director at Magnolia ISD, and then took another head coaching job there at Rockwall Heath. So a lot of close ties. We talked about that earlier tonight in the broadcast. There's coaches on his staff from Temple that played at Temple, so a lot of connections. He brought Coach Stewart here to get the defensive problem fixed for the Wildcats, which Coach Stewart did that, and that has continued on under Coach Knox. Also, even going back further to 2004, Tam Hollingshead, who was a coach at Temple, when they launched Rockwall Heath in that program there, this is back in 2004, left Temple to go start that program. So there's a lot of Temple ties between the two schools of Temple and Rockwall Heath. So yeah, that's just a little bit of flavor there for that kind of game. So the question is, what game are we going to see next week, right? Is this going to be a shootout and just who gets the ball last and to win, or is it going to be something different than that?
For me, after watching this defense over the past few weeks, and especially tonight against a very talented Waxahachie offense, I mean, I know they don't throw the ball a whole lot, but they run the ball very, very well, and they couldn't do anything tonight that they wanted to do. I think this defense is going to be ready, and they're going to give anybody that gets in front of them a little bit of problems. Now, can they hold their own? Can the entire ball game? I don't know, but I know that I feel confident in the defense giving them some problems and making them do some things they're not comfortable doing.
They give you a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all that matters. They give you a chance, and and again, just like talking to Coach Sadler, they give you a chance to go ahead and do what you do in your playbook and feel comfortable about doing it. And all the offense has to do, and I say that and make it sound like it's easy, but all they got to do is compliment them, compliment the defense, let the defense do what it does, get off the field. Let it get a little bit of break. It's not one of those things where you want the defense to be out there all day, because it doesn't matter who you are, you get tired. But if the offense can complement the defense, man, you have a recipe for a win every week.
Yeah. Well, those long drives that Coach Stewart talked about, you do that next week, and you just simply don't allow Rockwall Heath the opportunity to score those kind of points. And we can zero in on this Rockwall Heath team. I mean, it's close to 300 yards passing per game. So they put the ball up in the air. They're going to do that. So Peoples, Jaden Jackson, Keon Williams, Carlton Mack, they better have their A game on next week at Baylor Stadium or McLean Stadium, because that's really going to be the matchup. I have so much faith and confidence in that defensive line and those linebackers. I think the run would only happen if we're struggling in the secondary covering those receivers, and you're going to have to put more people into coverage. Now you open up those lanes and you open up the run, and that usually is what Spradlin does. I mean, they throw the ball deep, throw it deep, complete some of them.
Well, it takes a while to throw the ball deep as well.
Yeah.
And the defensive line for Temple, they have a habit of living in opposing teams' backfields.
That's it.
It's going to be interesting, and that'll happen at McLean Stadium coming up next week. Your Per Bilski good hands of the game. Q, I'll start with you.
Why you got to start with me?
Because I just wanted to.
Okay. Well,
I don't have any other reason. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you just kind of caught me off guard there. I'm going to say
he did just jump into that. In his
he just totally caught me off guard. But it's cool. It's all right. I'm gonna go with Marshall Grays.
All right.
Interception and takes it to the house, and that was right after Temple had turned the ball over, and the Wildcats defense, and Marshall said, no problem. We'll get it right back for you, and got it back. And not only did he get it back for you, got to put 6 up on the board. So not only are we going to get the ball, we're going to score it too.
There you go. Coach?
I agree with Q. I think that pick 6 set the tone for the entire game for the whole defense.
That a boy, man. That's the way it rolled with me.
All right.
That was mine.
That's
all right,
what I'm
there you
talking
go.
about. Hey, man.
Let's make it 4 for 4. Is that all right?
That's what I'm saying, man.
All
Hey,
right,
follow the
Marshall
leader,
Grays into the end zone with the pick 6 for the Temple Wildcats to get things started here tonight with the Wildcats getting the by-district championship. We'll do it again next Friday night. We'll let you know as soon as we know exactly what time the pregame show will start. It will be an hour before the kickoff at McLean Stadium. I think, Q, you said either 7 or 7:30, the estimated time, but it hasn't been determined completely yet exactly what time that kickoff's going to be. But the Cats move on to round number 2, and they'll take on Rockwall Heath, the Hawks, next Friday night. Want to thank some folks in this broadcast. Hey, thanks to Coach Prentice. Because of him, we were able to see the ball game tonight here in the press box. Appreciate his fine work as always. He is the unsung hero. He does everything around here, and without him, a lot of this would not happen. We appreciate him as always. Thanks to Stephen Simcox producing back in the Fox Sports studios. And thanks to Coach Stewart too. And I wanted to say this because I don't know if I'll get another chance, but he's there every week at the coaches show. He's always acceptable to talk to me and Q whenever we call and ask him to come on our show, or we talk to him before and after the ball game. Look, there's a lot of coaches out there that won't take the time to do that, and he is always available for us, and he's always very open, and I appreciate him doing that Wednesday night show and giving us that time, because that's taking time away from his family and his kiddos and stuff, and just can't say enough about him and his staff and everything they do. We appreciate them as always as well. So thanks to Coach Stewart. Appreciate him very, very much. For Alan Rourke, Art Coley, and your boy Q, your final score from Wildcat Stadium, Temple 38, Waxahachie nothing. I'm Ward Whites. Until next time, so long, everybody. Snap back, looking to the right. Now he has complete to Taylor. Weaves his way to the 30, steps inside, 25, 20, 15, out of a tackle, 10, 5, touchdown!